Yes. Here we go. Welcome Wednesday night. This is the glorified version of a bass fishing talk show. I am your host, Pat Renwick. And Bass Galaxy, come on. Give it up right now. Wait, hold on. Hold on a second. If you haven't told your friends, if you haven't told everybody you know that loves bass fishing and loves to wind a plug, let them know David Fritts is on Stray Cast tonight. Yes. Can you believe it? David Fritts. Yes. Bassmaster Classic winner, Forest Wood Cup winner, plug designer, derb man, proper bassin' man. David Fritts. Give it up again for David Fritts. Yes. Good evening, glory, hallelujah to you. That's the deal right there. Pretty excited about that. We've had David on before at the Forest Wood Cup, and done some things with Bass University with David. But really excited to get him here at the Stray Cast studio, and we're gonna get in depth in the art of plugging with Fritz. So we cannot wait to talk to David tonight. But let's get to business first. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, the guy producing the heck out of this thing over there is Andrew Ellenberger, the Ginger Ninja. The Ninja, yeah. Hello, Ninja.
How are you?
Hola. See, I was seeing if you were on your toes, and you're on your toes.
Yeah.
You're good. You are good. Ginge. Hey, Crestliner keeps us afloat, Ginge, don't it?
It does.
It sure does. And want to remind everybody, just because there are no boat shows, you can go to the Crestliner Real Deal Savings events right now at Crestliner.com. And there's virtual boat shows. So anything you need to know about the entire Crestliner line, go to Crestliner.com. Boom, right there. Hey, Andy.
Yes, sir.
Guess what? Stray Cast, like and share, live Facebook feed, win stuff.
Yes, sir.
Boom, kapow.
Big one today.
Yeah, like it's a double whammy today.
It's a big one.
Double whammy today. So the first one, Andy, Omnia Fishing. The good people over at Omnia.com. Yes. Brad, Matt, Pistolero, Chris, all the good guys over there. They are giving you, the Bass Galaxy, a chance to win a $50 code to OmniaFishing.com. You can use, I saw you like it. That's correct. Winding it up. Yes. Y'all wound. Is wound the word?
It could be.
Because a word now. OmniaFishing.com, $50 redemption code. All you have to do is like and share this live Facebook feed. Like and share the feed. Boom. And your chance to win, Jake Haas is going to pick the winner at the end of the show. But get this. For tonight's prizes, you have to be present live to win. Because we're giving away a bunch tonight. The next deal, along in conjunction with the Omnia Like and Share, another chance to win 8 Berkeley Biggins. Fritz-side Biggins from Berkeley. 8 of them. Wow. Yeah. Compliments of Berkeley Fishing and B. Rad Rutherford over at Berkeley. Like and share this live Facebook feed. So a chance to win over 13 Fritz-side plugs if you choose. Wow.
That's huge.
Yeah, Fritz-side's the hottest bait in the country right now, not kidding. And David is going to pick the winner live of the Fritz-side Biggins from Berkeley. Okay, let's move along. Everybody knows that we raise a glass, and let's see what salutes in that glass every Wednesday night on Stray Cast. The Tin Cup drinking word of the week. The drinking game of the week word is crank plug. What do you think about that, Andy?
I think we're going to have a lot of those.
Crank plug. So we remind you, drink responsibly. And you can drink whatever you choose out of your tin cup. You could, whatever, Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
We'll talk more about that next week. Mountain Dew. But anyway, hey, Tin Cup word of the week, crank plug. When you hear the word crank plug,
let her rip.
Especially you, Luke Foley. I said Tin Foley almost. One Tin Foley rides away. That's the Tin Cup Whiskey Gypsy. The word of the week, crank plug. You hear crank plug? That's the Tin Cup word of the week. Berkeley fishing again. Fritz-side's hottest bait in the country. Hottest bait in the country, man. It's the time. It's winding time. If you didn't see the last derb over there, everybody but Gussie was throwing the Fritz-side. And congratulations to Gussie, by the way. Jeff Gustafon Chanton Saint-Ventin Stefan. I think Gus is on the Kevin Van Darn show tonight.
He is.
Doing something over there at Plano.
I'm just going to keep texting him all night.
Yeah, let's just blow up Gus all the time. But yeah, Gus is coming on next week with the Sleepjackers. Yeah. So it's a Tennessee River elite champion, Jeff Gustafson, with the Johnston brothers, Chris Groh, Matthew Robertson, and Seth Feider next week. All the jackers and everything. It's going to be a celebrity roast. Yeah, it's going to be a celebrity roast next week. So don't miss that one. Mark your calendars now. THMarineSupplies.com. The deal is, Andy, how about that apparel over there at TH Marine Supplies?
Yeah, they got some new stuff.
Yeah, the new tie-dye stuff.
Yeah.
So when COVID's over and whoever's left in the Grateful Dead starts touring again, you have TH Marine tie-dye stuff.
Garb ready to go.
THMarineSupplies.com. Also, speaking of apparel, do not forget about checking out the new CX rainwear from Simms.
Yes.
Revolutionizing the game of rainwear. Speaking of revolutionizing, the Crankmaster himself, David Fritts, is right around the corner. May I suggest you put the power poles down, tell your friends, phone a friend, text them, tell them on the book face, tell them on the Instagram, tell them on the Twitter, tell them on the tickety-tock-tock-tock-tick. David Fritts is coming on Straight Cass. We'll be right back.
This is the mountain, and this is mountain whiskey. Unspoiled, untamed, forever wild. There's no safety net, no way down. Up here, it's just man, and the mountain, and his tin cup. Tin Cup Whiskey. Mountain whiskey.
Nobody wants to run out of power when they're on the water. There is a better way. Introducing the Charge Marine Power Management Station from PowerPole that does the work of 3 devices: a traditional battery charger, a charge on the run, and an emergency start system. PowerPole Charge.
The TH Marine HydroWave H2 KVD Edition is a surefire way to ignite a feeding frenzy. The HydroWave utilizes a sound-emitting technology that imitates bait fish and other feeding fish below the surface that preys on the competitive nature of bass and other game fish to get you more bites. The HydroWave is another way that TH Marine has you covered from transom to trolling motor.
ladies and gentlemen. We are proud. I can't hear anything. Ladies and gentlemen. And one. There it is. Yes, now I can hear. Ladies and gentlemen, we are proud to bring to you the king of crankin', the Duke of Plugs, the one and only Bassmaster Classic champion, Angler of the Year, and FLW Cup champion, plug designer. Bass Galaxy, give it up for David Fritts. Yes. Yes. There it is, right there. Welcome, Dave.
Yes, sir. I'm glad to be here.
Hey, I'm sorry about the confusion at the beginning. I could not hear anything or hear me. I'm glad that we got it together, and I'm glad you're here, man. It's good to see you. Where are you right now?
Right now I'm in Alabama.
Okay. You are a fishing gypsy. You've been for years. You travel everywhere, man.
Well, that sort of goes along with the fishing part of it. We people ask where you live where you are.
There it is, and fishing in the moment is why you've been successful, man. These through these years, and let's start off. Let's talk about you, David Fritts, right now, and let's kind of go back in time from there. But a great finish, man, on the Tennessee River, 11th place for Dave Fritts. Not bad, bud. Not bad. Winding the old biggin. I like it.
Yeah, it that was a good tournament. I sort of was impressed myself because I didn't even know if I was going to be able to fish it or not. I was going to see how I held up, and I was energyless there for a little while, and I don't know, I just found some energy somewhere enough to make it through the tournament. So I stayed close and done what I like doing the most, and it just worked out. I had the opportunity. I should have been way up there.
You lost a few fish.
Yeah, I lost a really good one the first day and the last day. And, I just needed one of them. I had a pound 1.47 or something like that in the boat. So I needed one more pound.
I mean, let's face it, though. I mean, you came out of hell and took an 11th place finish. That's pretty good, David, considering the circumstances of dealing with the COVID battle and the effect it had on you, and then coming out and fishing, 3 days of an Elite Series event. That's quite an accomplishment. Seriously, it really is.
Well, fishing a tournament takes a lot out of you. It takes a lot of stamina, a lot of energy, a lot more than a lot of people realize, and you got to be in pretty decent shape. So, and that's something that I'm not. I haven't got my stamina back yet, but I am getting there. I'm getting a whole lot better.
Good. I mean, and you look great. Seriously.
Thank you.
I mean, you look good, man. And and obviously you're ready to kick ass by your finish there and at the river. So, in the next event, David is coming along. That's in your wheelhouse too, man. At Pickwick. That's a winding derb.
Yeah, well, Pickwick's always been a good lake. I've had, I don't know, maybe the last BASS I fished there, maybe I finished second, or maybe it was the one before the last one. I don't know, but I've had some good finishes there.
Yeah, I mean, I know you got good history, and obviously that's historically that's a winder's lake, Pickwick.
It is.
Like a lot of your peers have won quite a bit of money on a plug there too, So I mean, it sets up well for you. That's all I'm saying. So I mean, let's just face it. You Let me ask you, how many times a day do you think about crankbaits? Like how many times a day?
Like 99.9%.
So the majority of the time you are thinking about crankbaits. So I got to figure this out. Why? That's what I want to have you on the show tonight, to celebrate your career and figure out your infatuation with the crank plug. I mean, you are the winder of winders, dude, and it's an honor for me. I mean that quite sincerely, to have you on this show, as well as to share this with the entire Bass Galaxy. So I want to take you back. Okay, let's go back to the roots of you, David Fritts, way back in the way. Here, Andy's taking you back in the way back machine. It's like a time machine. The Great Gazoo right there. So where did it start? What was the love affair with the plug? Where did the love affair start with it, Dave? How old were you? Be specific.
I guess I was pretty fortunate living there in Lexington, and you know, we had High Rock Lake, we had Kerr Reservoir, we had a lot of good crankbait lakes, and in the High Rock Bassmasters, we had some fellas in there that was always winning with them, and I'm thinking, you know, maybe I need to try to win with it. And I'll be honest with you, when I first started bass fishing, I could never catch one on plastic, because every time I touch a rock or something, I think I was getting a bite. But I knew if I could tie that crankbait on and throw it out there and wind it back in, I was going to catch something before the day was over. And that's sort of where crankbaits have led me. And obviously, the more you fish something, the more you learn about it. Then, you know, you're always constantly thinking what makes them tick, and you know, what can I do to make these, what I'm fishing with, better. And I don't know, over the years, when we've been able to make a lot of things better. So crankbait fishing has come a long, long way from where it was back in the
obviously, and like
80s.
So the motivation for you was what do you got there, David?
Well, I was just thinking, you know, you look at these baits right here. Actually, this is one of the original baits. This is a pose lure.
I see that.
I haven't fished it in years and years and years, but
you beat the tar out of it.
Well, this thing has probably won me more money than anything I ever had tied on.
Wow.
Obviously, we didn't have the Fritts-sides back then, and we didn't have some other. But at the time, it just gives you an example of how far crankbaits have come. I mean, you can look at these baits right here, and let me grab this other one here. You know, you look at them and look at the tails. One tail is really fat, and one tail is really thin. And
yeah,
you know, that has something to do with baits, and that's the way wooden baits were. And being able to pick out a really good one was a big key in being successful with it. And you know, this day and time, since we figured out how to make our plastic baits act like wood and fish like wood, it has been tremendous. I think it's got to be the greatest thing that has ever hit crankbait fishing.
It's pretty neat. It really is.
You see that in that bait, and you know, we have the knowledge. You know, I'm lucky enough to work with Berkeley now, and I've been with a lot of companies, but we have the knowledge between Dan Spangler and Keith Ostrom and Kelly up there that working on a computer. It's amazing what we can do. And like right now, our dredgers, and you're familiar with the dredgers, you're familiar with the diggers and some of the other baits. Well, we know right now how to make them run 4 feet deep. I mean, and make them act like wood. We know how to do that. And you're probably going to see that. So, and it's been a lot of work, but when you got good people around you, and Keith Ostrom, he tickles me every time. I hadn't seen him in a while, but we'll be up there, and I said, we need to do this. oh, you can't do that. You can't do that. Well, the next morning he comes in, well, maybe we can do that.
See, he was thinking about it, David. He was thinking about it. You got under his skin a little bit.
Yeah.
Hey, so what was the first plug, though? I got to know. What was the first one that you really fell in love with?
Well, I started out with Bagley, and Bagley was the bait way back.
Yeah,
I mean,
I got some. I got a DB3.
That was before anything, and yeah, I didn't bring any Bagleys in, but we had.
I got a DB3 right here. I'm holding up to the audience, and then here I'll hold it up to your camera, David. I don't know if you can.
And that's really how I become successful, and that was putting some weight in it to make it throw better.
Really? Where'd you put the weight? Where was the weight, David?
Huh?
Where did you put the weight?
You put the weight between the front eye hanger and the very front of the bait. You drilled a hole in it. You poured hot lead in it, sealed it up with epoxy, and that bait become a deadly weapon.
Wow. And that is a DB3 that you're talking about?
That's a DB3, yes.
Okay, gotcha.
And the two. I did the twos also, but the threes was the big deal because I was fishing, 2 or 3 deeper than fish have ever seen a crankbait before.
Yeah.
And I remember one time, it must have been 80 or 81, may even been 79. But when I got that thing rolling, it's like I won like 8 tournaments in a row on that, and people then they think you're cheating and all kinds of stuff. But it wasn't that. I just knew how to catch them, and I knew how to get that bait to do certain things, and that's what really started my love of crankbaits and figuring out how to do things that actually makes them better. And this day and time, we know that, and we give that to the fishermen. I mean, when you buy a certain bait, I mean, you're getting the best they are.
It's cranking science. You're all about it. But I got to ask you this on that DB3 deal. When you're adding since balsa is always different, wood's always different, and you've kind of licked it.
They're all way different. Yes.
Yeah, and you licked that problem with the plastic now. But the deal is, did you always have to add different amount of weight when you did the drilling on a DB3? Or was it consistently like a...
Let me tell you, I had me a drill press, and I had a 5-gallon bucket of water sitting right there beside of me.
Okay.
And I would pour lead in it, and I would drop in that bucket. And if it was perfect, it would barely float, but not sink. Then it was right. If it floated more upright, I would put more lead in it because every one of them was different. So if you got it real close, you could sort of refine it a little bit with the size hooks you use. But I wanted it to be sit in the water like this, where it went straight down.
Right.
And
like, okay.
with the tail, like a 1/8 of an inch of the tail sticking out of the water.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it wasn't like you had a pattern you could do every one the same. Every bait was individual, and the posts were the same way. Every bait was individual, and you had to do each one of them individual.
Did you start with was it always a specific depth of the drill press? Was it always like you started?
It was.
So you always started with that and then filled a certain amount and then filled up from there, if I'm understanding correct?
Yeah, I would, you can only drill so far, and you try to hit where the back of the lip is and the body, and where the front hook hanger has lead in it.
Yes.
And it come up, but it's just, and you want to hit it right in the corner. And most of the time, a lot of times I would drop the bait in the water before I even drilled it, just to see how buoyant it was, if it was a heavy bait or if it was a light bait. And I went from there and actually could sort of guesstimate how deep I needed it. All the holes were the same. I don't remember. I think it was 3/16. And I had tape on my drill bit to where I wanted to drill it to. So,
this is
nothing
awesome.
scientific, but doing the best I could do with what I had.
Yeah, so which bait in the Berkeley line, in your opinion, right now, which dredger is a DB3? a modified DB3?
We're real close with the 14.
Okay.
The 14.5, but the 17.5 is exactly, actually will run deeper. A 17.5 is like my modified Pose, my modified Bagley. It's like a 6XD. It's like a lot of other baits, but it's a little smaller bait too. So
that's the 17.5?
17.5. That's one of my favorites. The 17.5 is just a good bait. Most of them will run 18 or 19, 10-pound test, long cast, the whole deal. You can't throw it the length of a room and get it that deep, but if you can cast, you can get it that deep.
If you could throw a bit. And then the 14.5 is more like an unmodified DB3 or Pose 300, 400?
It's real close. Our 14.5 is a 2.5-inch bait, and we actually can get this bait 15 feet deep. Gotcha. A 2.5-inch bait, and that's 5 feet deeper than anything else that's even close to it. So, and now we know how to make it even run 3 or 4 foot deeper than that. And I knew that this was going to be real strong in the northern market around the smallmouth.
Yeah,
because you can stay down on the size of bait, and yet you're getting down there to where they're at. But the 14.5 is a killer bait. I mean, it's one of the best kept secrets, along with the diggers. I mean, two of the best kept secrets we have, and they just haven't. People don't talk about them. It's sort of like the Bad Shad was when it came out. Everybody's winning tournaments with it, but nobody would tell you what they was winning them on, and they wanted to keep it to themselves. And it sort of got out a little bit, but that's the way these baits are.
Yeah, and now the Fritts-side's doing the same thing, and we'll get to them.
Well, the Fritz-side is just a different animal.
Oh,
Old Dan Spangler up there in Spirit Lake. We worked on these, and we worked on them. And I told Dan, I said, I always tell them, I always test them. I always tell them, let's see if we can make it better. And when we think we've got something as good as we can get it, we always strive to make it better. And when that happens, if you make it better, it's going to be the best thing you ever tied on. And that's what happened to the Fritz-side, moving those weights to the bottom. And I remember we called Ronnie Manrose and asked him, do we want to paint over this, or do we want to leave them exposed? And he said, you know what? I was sort of wanting to leave them exposed too. And Kevin over there at Berkeley and Brad, we all thought, you know what, that people can see sort of how this thing is built. But when that happened, this bait became a consistent fish-like wood bait. And the wood baits in the past, you'd have to buy 20 of them, and then you'd get lucky to have one really good one.
You're right.
And that's the way wood baits were. And what is so consistent when we figured this out was that you buy 10 of them, your son can tie one on, throw it out there, and he's going to catch one with it. I mean, it is just that good and that consistent. Every one of them is consistent. And then it boils down to how far you can cast and what size line you're using. And it boils down to that, because the bait's as good as it can be.
Let me ask you this, and tell me what you think about this statement. I've never seen a crankbait ever, and you and I have had many plug-in discussions. You know I like to throw a plug and wind. So I've never seen a crankbait like the Fritz-side, where fish actually track it as much as they do, like a swim bait or a swim jig or that chatterbait bite. I know you've noticed that. I mean, yeah. They track that crankbait like I've never seen. Why? What is it?
Well, one thing, that bait has no action like nothing else. I mean, when Dan and I were back there at the tanks watching this thing, and believe it or not, we develop a bait, it's not developed in a week and put out. We're talking about, a year's worth of work. Maybe the dredgers were actually 3 years and actually 29 different bodies before we come upon
the
real key. And that bait has so much twist, so much, we call it roll. There's nothing else like it. I mean, it's 3/4 of an inch this way, 3/4 of an inch that way. And then when you combine it with the wiggle, then that's the big key. And that's how and I have to say, we were probably a little bit lucky because we got the hottest selling crankbait, the best fish catching this crankbait that's ever been made. I mean, it's improved itself. 5 or 6 major.
Whoop, lost Dave's audio.
So anyway, it's just, and I'm amazed, and I made the thing, and I'm amazed when I fish it. It's like fish a choke it, and you're not going to buy fish. I mean, if you're where a fish is, he's going to bite it, and that's the good thing about the Fritz-side.
It really, I can honestly say that every time I have gone fishing and thrown Fritz-sides, I've caught fish on them. Every time. Every time. I've never seen a bait like it. So I heard you say
my phone is blew up, and it stays blown up. Where can I get these at? I've never seen anything like it. Sending me pictures of 4 and 5, 6, 7 pounders with it down in their goozle. And I mean, I send them to some of the guys at Berkeley occasionally, but my phone stays blew up. I mean, it's like, man alive. And it's really a good feeling to know that all your hard work, being with Bagley, making baits for them, being with Pose, and then being with Rapala, and then being with Berkeley. And it's a special feeling to be able to develop something. And those guys, I mean, when I get up there to Spirit Lake, Iowa, I've never worked with a company that was so interested in how well their bait performed as I have with Berkeley. They have been, and everybody wants to sell baits, but the thing is, they want to sell baits, but they want them to work. They want them to be the best, and that's something that I sort of realized early on, 7 or 8 years ago. And Berkeley asked me, I don't know, I turned them down 5 times.
Wow. You're a baller.
Well, I don't know. I was just I just turned them down because I was just a little nervous about it. And then, and old Jeff Williamson said, well, we'll do you a product contract. You ain't got to worry about losing your sponsorship. And when I seen how much they cared about doing that.
You were with Rapala at the time?
No.
Okay.
No, Rapala had done moved on. So.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I wasn't with anybody, but I was just
free
real
agent.
nervous about it. And because I have certain feelings, and I like to express myself, and I'm really hard. You can ask those guys, anybody, I'm hard on them, because if that bait is not absolutely perfect, we ain't making it.
Okay,
And
wait,
I
hold on.
can't
Let me stop you a minute. You said you have feelings and you like to express yourself. And you mean to the people at Berkeley? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Like,
and they let me.
So you hammer them, in other words? You're like, if this ain't right, you're letting them know.
I don't know that I tied a quarter to any of the Berkeley baits yet, but that used to be one of my things. A lot of times they'd send me a prototype back, and I'd take a quarter to it and send it back to them. And I said, now it's worth something.
Oh, wow.
Yarmo Rapala about killed me when I did that one time. He called me and
oh my gosh, that's Fritz Mafia stuff right there.
That's a true story. That's a true story. And
this is the guy that rejected Berkeley 5 times, now sending him baits with quarters taped to him. That's pretty badass right there.
And I've never had the opportunity to tape a quarter to a Berkeley bait. So if that tells you anything, now everything else, yes, I have.
No, wow.
But Yarmo Rapala is the one that really got to him, and Yeah, he didn't like that. He didn't like that. He told me what the quarter was for. I said, well, it's worth something now.
That was Tarapula.
Yeah, that was the Rapala. I've never had to tape a quarter yet, which I had the last say so. You know, man, I don't know. Dan Spangler is one of those guys that is an exceptional person. He has learned so much about the business and so much about tweaking things. And, you know, we work hand in hand, and he has learned that sometimes little bitty things make a big, big difference. And he's willing to do whatever. And that's something that you can't hardly find. So don't fire that guy. He's the best you got.
Good old Dan. Heck yeah.
They're the best team that could ever be.
That's pretty awesome. So let me get this straight. Just for history purposes, and everybody needs to realize this, pretty much every crank plug that they are throwing today is a variation of something you have had a hand in. Whatever it may be. I think that's a reality. Do you agree with that statement?
Well, it's probably close. I mean, probably 50% of the baits that are thrown is something that I had a hand in.
Gotcha. And you've designed for Bagley?
Bagley, I made the dredger.
The dredger. That was the DB3 with the lead in it.
Yeah, but they couldn't do it. They wouldn't do it right. So it didn't last very long.
Yes. So you took
take the time, but yeah, and then the Impose, I made the 400p, which is a deeper version, and that was a really, really popular bait there for a long time. And then with Rapala, you know, the DT6 is probably the most popular, but everything that's got DT on it stands for David T. Fritts.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that's
not Dives 2.
We call it Dives 2, but that's sort of where the DT come from. And
what's the T stand for?
Huh?
Thomas?
Yeah, David Thomas Fritts.
Thomas Fritts. Okay, gotcha.
My grandpa's name, we called him DT.
Okay, cool.
You know what? And I handed them all that stuff on a platter, sort of. I said, you know, we can call it Dives 2 or Down 2. And it just all worked out. And it really was a good bait. Obviously, I think we got a little better stuff right now because, you know, we're making plastic baits act like wood. So, and I know the bad shad and the shad wrap was always a fantastic bait. So we made one that you could actually cast, and that's what that thing looks like. But this thing wins tournaments coming and going, and just nobody talks about it.
The old bad shad, yeah. Oh, yeah.
The tail actually rolls instead of makes a slice. So that was a big key on this. A year's work right there. So almost all these baits, the dredgers were 3 years' work. The Fritz-side was probably close to 2 years, on and off. Now that's not solid. That's sort of working on and off. And, you know, all these baits, the dredgers, this is a 25.5, and it's probably as good a deep diving crankbait as you ever tie on. Some areas, that's all anybody throws, but it's sort of one of those deals where, yeah, it runs 25 for a short period of time, but it runs 22 a long way.
Okay.
And I never will forget, we was at Spirit Lake, and we made this thing. And we've been working on a 30-foot or two, and they'll probably get on me for telling you that. But
wow.
We went out to the lake and we're throwing this thing, and I said, "Boys, we got to find a deeper lake." I'm hitting the bottom halfway to the boat. Can't get it to go no deeper because I'm in 23 or 24 feet of water, and this bait runs deeper than that. So they got a big kick out of that. But that's one of the
grinding the bottom out.
That's the kind of guys them are. But so, we have the knowledge, and I can promise you, you need to be, everybody out there listening needs to be looking, because we're going to have a few other baits in our lineup that fishes just like wood, and I can take
Oh, I heard.
that bait right there, run deeper than any or most people's deep crankbait. And this is a 2.5-inch bait. We have the knowledge to make this bait run 4 foot deeper right now. And we just got to get it out there. And, you know, it's probably going to be called Fritz-side too, more than likely, because that one has just been strong, and I like it.
Yeah, man. The evolution. I mean, think about it. The Bagley, adding weight, and then you move the pose. The pose, the 300, the 400. That's your design, right? That's your deal, correct? And then what's the one? Now I have this pose in my hand, and it's a flat pose bait. It says Pose Elite. And
does it say RC on it?
Say it again.
Does it say RC3 or RC1?
No. I know the RC3s and 1s. This is a Pose Elite, and it's in that Homer color, and it looks just like a dang Fritz-side 7, man. I mean.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen that bait. That must be something that's newer.
No, it's old. I promise you, it's classic. I'm gonna snap you a photo of it because I know you can't see it. I know if you saw it, you'd know. But
yeah, a lot of people struggle with flat sides, and you can make them look like the best crankbait out there, but it's all about a combination of things, and I'm not going to tell you what that is, but it's all about a combination of things, and that's why the Fritz-side is where it is. I don't know that anybody can copy that. They may get close, but I don't think they can copy it, just because you know, all those guys up there on Crankbait Row, we know what makes that bait tick.
All the guys on Crankbait Row, you said.
That's what they call it. When I'm there, they call it Crankbait Row.
That's outstanding. You're all coming out to Crankbait Row. That's pretty good, man. Hey, I want to go through the years with you, okay? And every victory that you have had, you've pretty much won on a plug, right?
I won one tournament on a jig, and Clasic has helped me tremendously. I probably caught one on a plug that I wouldn't have won the tournament without, and then there's been times where I caught one on a piece of plastic that I wouldn't have won.
I get it, but the plug has always played the role.
It's been the dominant bait, yes.
Gotcha. So let's kind of go through the history. Well, before we go, I think we'd be amiss if we didn't mention your buddy Jerry, the bait maker. Old Jerry Lure. Yeah. Tell me a little bit, and tell the Bass Galaxy the importance of Jerry Lure and crankbait design.
Well, Jerry, we fished together for years. That's how I learned, pretty much learned fishing. And Jerry, he was a hard worker. And I can tell you, I had the brains, but he had the castability and the know-how. But I always say we need to go. And I'll tell you a story about Jerry. I know this ain't got anything to do with it. I never will forget. We went up to Bugs Island, and I said, Jerry, I know where they're at. I said they are big, and I just found this little place. And I told Jerry, I said they're biting a blue and pearl, the old timey blue, and with pearl sides. He said, "Oh, they'll bite anything I got." So anyway, he ties on Homer, which is chartreuse and greenback. We go flying up there, and I stop and I throw out there, I think 5 casts. I catch 5 over 7.
Wow. Oh,
I mean,
gosh.
like monsters. And he was just sitting there with the net.
He's your net man.
And then Jerry says, "Let me throw in there." He got his bait out. He threw in there. He didn't catch one. And I'm sitting there waiting, and he threw 2 or 3 more times. He didn't catch one. I said, "What'd you do to him?" I threw my old blue back out there and caught me another one, about 6.5.
Wow.
Wound it in. Next thing I know, he was in there in his box looking for a blue. And Jerry always said color doesn't matter.
Wow. But it sure did, didn't it?
He learned something that day. But Jerry is, you know, he's been a lover of crankbaits, and he's been a lover of flat sides too. but he's been like all of us. We sort of struggle with them. In fact, he don't make them anymore. He was cutting every one on out with a router by hand.
Wow.
And I mean, he was selling these things for $20, but he had 3 hours of work in them. So you know how much money he was making.
Yeah, nothing. Absolutely
3
nothing.
hours of work, and you're making you're selling one for $20. But he had some good lures. I never threw them very much because I was always with somebody else. And but Jerry knew a lot. He made a flat side bait run almost 20 feet deep. So, and that's saying something. That takes a little bit of doing. And anyway, me and Jerry go way back, and he taught me a lot about fishing. And this was actually, he just started making baits maybe 8 or 10 years after I was fishing BASS and some of the other pro tours. So I never got in on helping him very much. He'd call me and ask me my opinion, and I'd give it to him, but he didn't need it. He about knew what it took.
Hey, who the heck is John Wayne Leonard?
John Wayne Leonard.
Yeah, who that's a cool name. John Wayne Leonard.
It is. He was a guy that when I was in a bass club in 1975, 1976, 1978, he was the guy in the club that probably helped me more than anybody. And John was a good structure fisherman. He didn't fish crankbaits, he fished plastic.
Okay.
But he showed me a lot of and give me a lot of ideas. You know, back then we used to find them with our lures. You didn't have to find them with your electronics. You went out there and you worked hard and you found them with your lures.
Yeah.
And it's a lot different now.
Feelers.
But that's what I learned a lot from John. I learned that going out there, working hard and looking for certain kinds of breaks. And that's when I learned so much about the flasher, you know, how immediate it is, what kind of breaks the fish got on. And that's all I would look for. That's all I'd look for. And most people didn't know that. And that helped me go a long way in fishing. And I always credit John with probably helping me with electronics.
He got you outside a little bit, didn't he? He pushed you outside off the bank a bit. And it did. And I mean, and perfect that was a great lead up there, David, because here's the guy that kind of got you comfortable with fishing derbs, and then let's lead up to the real comfortableness of 1990 and Bugs Island. Okay. Yeah. So what I'd like to do is go back to that whole deal of the crank plug being the dominant bait of choice in all your victories. And I'd like to go through each one of your victories here briefly and kind of talk about the bait you used to win and the rod and reel setups as well. You know, and I kind of want to see the progression in time here of your setups and baits, if you're cool with that. And let's start at 1990, and that's Bugs Island, and that was, of course, that was a pose bait, right? That you won on.
It was. That was a pose 400 and a pose 400 P. That was an old Lew's BB1. I started with the Lew's reels in 1975. I graduated from school, and that was my present for graduating that I bought myself.
Wow. That you bought yourself.
I bought it myself. It was $102.
Holy cow.
I thought, man, they wound so good and you could throw them so far. And even today, you can actually throw them further. But that was my love. I mean, that thing was probably, I actually think I slept with it when I bought it.
That is great. I can relate, man. I still do that.
I did. And, now we have the same thing. We've got the BB1s. They're a little more fancier, and we got the BB1 Pros. But they still, they're probably better than the old reels. just because they cast so far, they're so smooth, and yeah, guess what? The handle goes backwards.
Yeah.
And you talked about that before, but
Yes, sir.
they're a multi-stop. They're not infinite and reverse reels, and that helps you a lot, especially if you're learning how to fish a crankbait. There's no substitute for that.
There's just like the one that you got in 1975 that you bought for yourself as a graduation present.
Yep, that's right.
That it has no instant anti-reverse, and you have told me before why you prefer that, but not everybody knows the answer to that. And could you please tell everybody why you like a little play in the reel handle? What's the purpose there?
Well, one thing, when you take that infinite and reverse clutch out of there, you can throw it further, for one thing. And you can feel your bait vibrate. You can feel when it hits the water, I can feel it vibrate. And you cannot do that with the infinite and reverse reel. You cannot feel that bait till it gets about halfway back. I know a couple people that thought I was just pulling their leg until I put one in their hand. And a lot of people have learned. Because the better you feel your bait, the more you're going to catch. And even the extra distance, and I'm not talking about a lot, but I'm talking about 8 or 9 yards, and that's a lot, especially deep cranking. That's a lot. And they're 5-1, they're 21 inch per turn, the same as the old loose. This reel, and I've got a Fritts-side digging on right here. I don't know how good you can see it, but that's actually the one I used last week.
What's that, honey shad? Or I couldn't tell.
Yeah, honey shad, but they were biting Kentucky blue real good too. They seem to be on a shad pattern. Everybody's throwing red, and actually, some of the guys that done real good in that tournament on homemade flat-sided crankbaits, it's a good thing you didn't read the bottom of them. I can tell you that. That's a fact.
I know.
That's a fact. But anyway, this is a 6/8 rod, and this is my perfect crankbait rod. And I really, it's a $79 rod. And if you want to throw a chatterbait, a spinnerbait, or a small, medium crankbait throwing at a target, it doesn't get any better than this rod, especially, making long casts with the reels. But
that's your lose rod. Perfect crankbait.
Yeah, it's the lose. It's got my name on it. I don't know why they put my name on it, but it's got my name on it.
Because it's your rod.
And
if you lose it, it's yours. Like if you go to school, all the kids know it's yours in case you lose it, like your lunch box.
Yeah, they actually one of their best sellers too, because it's $79, and you can't buy very much for $79 anymore. But anyway, that's sort of one of the things that I've had for a long time. And,
so I want to ask you.
We made it in the 6/8, and I love a 6/8. I just love it for throwing small stuff, and I'm casting at a target.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen you using that rod plenty as well. But I want to ask you about the anti-reverse thing. I don't understand why, though. I don't know why it makes the reel throw further, and I don't know why you can feel more with it. Do you know why?
The clutch is putting pressure on the spool.
Okay.
So if you stop it, it won't go backwards. Well, anytime you put pressure on it, anything, it takes away your feel, for one thing. And I mean, you can, look at the old 5500, Abu 5500s and 4500s, no infinite and reverse. And they wouldn't throw quite as far as the lose reel, but they were great reels.
Yeah, and those were like casting contest reels too. Remember, David?
They were, and especially the 4500.
Yes, sir.
But you could feel your bait, and then all of a sudden these reels come out where the handle wouldn't go backwards, and it's like, good Lord, I can't feel anything. And I never will forget, and this is a true story, but there's a guy named KH, and he owns probably the world's best reel manufacturing in the world. And It's not in the United States, but he is so tuned in to what makes a good product. and he's the best they are.
KH?
I had him at Lake Lanier, and this has been years ago. And I said, KH, feel how much more sensitive this reel is. And he threw it out there and he couldn't tell. He couldn't tell nothing. I said, you can't feel that bait vibrating when it hits the water? Instead of waiting to get close to the boat? No, can't do that. So finally, after about 3 or 4 hours, I looked in my boat and I had a spinnerbait with a blade about that big around. A single spin spinnerbait. So I tied it on and threw it out there. He threw it out there and he started whining. He said, this reel more sensitive. So after about 4 hours, he finally figured it out. And it took something that made a lot of vibration, because a lot of people don't pay any attention. They're just whining when something grabs hold of it and stretches their line, they know they got one. So, man, it can make you a better fisherman. There is no question. I cannot fish a crankbait without a reel like that.
And what's pretty unique is I know that's one of the few manufacturers that still make a reel like that of quality. You know? I mean, it really is. You're pretty fortunate that they're still making what you like.
Yeah, I am. Believe me, I keep stock on them, and plus
you got a few.
I've still got the original ones that I had when Lynn Reeves started to lose back up. What is that? 9 years ago?
Yeah,
9 or 10 years ago.
Sounds right.
So anyway, I still have some of those, and I use them every day, and because I wanted to see how long they last. And man, you know, you can't wear them out.
Were those original Lou Childries that, like the one like you bought for yourself as a present? Was that a Shimano reel? Was that the one they were made by Shimano? Okay,
it was a Shimano,
Gosh,
and that was the better ones. I thought they were better than when Ryobi started making them. I didn't think they were quite as good. They were still awful good.
Yeah.
But the Shimano, I just didn't like the handle on the Shimano. I always liked those flat paddle handles. And that's something that sort of come out with Ryobi. And that was one of the real good innovations for me, because of big fat paddle handle. And you knew if you heard that thing click, you better be getting a net.
It's about to go down.
Your hand and pop back. You knew you better be getting a net.
Oh, it was happening. It was happening. Okay, so back to we're getting off a track, but this is awesome. Back to Bugs Island. So you were throwing the pose, and then you were winding with the BB, the BB1 end. And what was the rod at the time? What was your rod at the time?
I was using a Browning Silaflex.
Okay,
that's the same cranking rod I have today, but at that time Browning started making those, and you know Browning owned Lou's for a long time.
Yeah.
They bought Lou's back in the early, actually is in the 80s when they bought it. And that was it was a heavy rod, but man, that thing was so sweet and so good. It's sort of a whippy, flimsy rod, but man, you just didn't lose any fish with it. And that's what I was using then, and I still have some of those. I made lamps out of a bunch of them. Whenever I'd break one, I'd make me a little thing with a loose reel, and you just pull the cord, and then the light come on. And that's been years ago. That's been a long time ago.
Man, and it's hard to break e-glass too. You must have been done something pretty rough with them.
Well, usually you got to shut the rod box on it and step on it.
And then it happens. Do I remember seeing you with a lunker stick? Picture with a lunker stick, like way back?
Yeah, I had some lunker sticks. Actually, when I bought that loose reel, they were out of the speed sticks, so I bought a lunker stick to fish with my plastics on, which I very seldom ever fish. But that lunker stick was like, man, you know, pistol grip.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Real lightweight, and boy, that really brings back memories. I think it was a HMG graphite or something way back then.
Oh yeah, the old Fenwick HMG lunker stick. Yeah,
I had some of them, but for throwing my crankbait, just the old loose speed stick. It was just that, and until they started making the Silaflex, and that's pretty much. I mean, Browning was a big deal for me. That got me enough funds and that kept me going, and I could fish. Now, don't get me wrong, it wasn't much, but it was enough to keep me going. And the really good people, like the folks at Berkeley and the folks at Lou's, those guys. I don't deal with anybody that ain't fun and ain't real friendly. I can say Precision Sonar, people at Lawrence. I mean, all those guys and women, they're just such good people. And it's a pleasure to represent something. For one thing, they got the best you can buy. And that's sort of one of my criterias. And the other thing is, they're just good people, good down home people.
Good family feel.
That's right.
And that's important to have in business partners in whatever field you're in. And I mean, it's a good position to be in, David. And
it is.
And it shows because basically, dude, I mean, let's get real. Your first win was a lose reel, and you're still using a lose reel now. I mean,
and I'll bring you back a memory too from the Classic. I brought this up here. Have you ever seen this?
That's the plug knocker?
That's my plug knocker.
I remember at the end of the show, at the end of the Classic show, you did a little tip on the plug knocker.
Yeah, this thing is like from back in I used it in the 70s, and they're about $20 now. I think is what Lou's gets for them, but it's a Gitterback lure retriever. But it's still, one baiting is paid for itself. But there's no other one that works like this, because when you let it down, actually I done a thing in 1990 on some kind of special thing Bassmaster.
That's what I was talking about. I remember seeing it at the end of the show.
That's right.
Yeah.
When this hits your bait, see, it tilts, and it'll reach up under a limb or a log and either knock it loose or grab the hooks. And it's coated so it don't never, tear your bait up.
Wait, they make that now?
Yeah, they still make it. This is made by Lou's has these, or Gitterback lure retrievers, and which it don't come with all this.
It looks just like the one from when I was a kid.
Yeah, exactly the same. Exactly the same. And it's probably, man, if you fish a crankbait and you ain't got one of them, I mean, I'd lose all my good baits. And that's what I used to always say. You work so hard, especially with Pose and Bagley and even Rapala, to find a real good one. And then you dang sure don't want to lose it. So,
all right. So say right now, David, like right now in your life, are you more of a go get the bait if it's hung up, or are you a break it off kind of guy and keep throwing it the juice?
One man loose.
You what?
I get them all loose.
You do? Okay.
Yeah, I do. Even I mean, I don't know. I got a subconscious or something. I'm thinking, I'm not going to break this bait off. I've never, maybe one time when I was casting them, every cast, and they were all 3 and 4 pounders at Lake Eufaula, 5 pounders. I may have broke one off then, but it's probably the only time in my life. Usually I can go in there, and actually I've went in there, and this happened in Lake Eufaula. I got hung up in the tree, and I went there, and I put my lure retriever down there and knocked my lure loose, and all of a sudden, I got a 9-1 on the end of my bait. And he wraps me all around the tree. So my hand line, I'm pulling my lure retriever up, and Harold Allen's fishing with me. And Harold reaches over there and grabs this fish, and my line's still down there under the tree.
Harold Allen.
And Harold Allen, he told me I was the luckiest human being he had ever been in the boat.
Did he use that word? You're the luckiest human being I've ever seen, or was it something else?
No. We'll stick with what I said.
Man, I haven't heard Harold Allen in a long time.
Yeah, that blew my mind. I mean, I think I was throwing it to get my bait a little bit deeper. I think I was even throwing 8-pound line, and here I am in fishing standing timber, an 8-pound line. But usually I don't have too much problem with it. But sometimes you just get a little lucky.
That's pretty outstanding, man. I mean, the whole deal with with going back to the victories and the crankbait, the Bassmaster Classic again. That would be the '93 Classic win. That's your next victory after Bugs Island, right? And again, another pose bait, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's another pose victory, and that's the same combo, the same rod and reel combo.
Yep.
Man.
Same setup, same everything.
So you have a pretty consistent setup. I want to go back to 1990 again. What's the line? What line are you cranking with?
At that time, I was using Stren, and they were actually making a line that had my name on it, and they called it cranking line, but it had my picture on it.
Okay.
And it was a copolymer monofilament.
A copolymer.
And copolymer is by far, if you're going to throw mono, you need to throw mono. And I love fluoro, and I fish with it a lot, but not on my crankbaits. It's just got a lot of stretch, and actually it cost me from winning my second Forest Wood Cup because I was trying some of it, and I had on my crankbaits, and one broke my line. Then I realized that every time I threw my bait, I broke my line. And what happens, it just got stretched out and started breaking.
Wow.
And that was a hard way to learn that deal, but that happened. And most people can relate. You know, you got 10-pound line on, you got a shaky head, and you get hung up and you break your line. Well, then you break it again, and about the third or fourth time, it starts breaking easier and easier because your line gets stretched out. Now, that's light line. You don't have near the problem with if you go up to 12, 15, or 17, but 10-pound line. But that copolymer works, and it's a low stretch. And I can tell you, it don't matter what kind of line it is. And I love Berkeley Sensation. It's probably the best crankbait line out there.
So hold on. I got to stop you. So you're cranking in 1990 with the Stren copolymer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then in 93, you're still cranking with the copolymer?
Yep.
Okay. So I'm gonna move you up here because we're progressing. You'll see what I'm doing, and you know what I'm doing. You know what I'm up to. But now, here's something that's pretty important in bass fishing history. You won the 93 Bassmaster Classic. Okay? And then you go to the next event and you kick everybody's butt again. All right? Well, I think you beat Denny by you beat Denny. Or was that 90? I can't remember. I get it confused in my bass brain. But
I think that was 93.
Was it? Okay. Well, anyway, I Rain Man
94.
stuff.
I won Angler of the Year in 94, so.
So at 93 at Bugs again, though, that's where your next victory came after the Classic, correct?
Yeah.
93 or 4, whatever. I'm not sure. But that was, what's the bait there again? Is that still pose?
Yep.
Still pose bait? The 300, 400?
I was with Pose until 2000, or maybe it was 97. And that's when the people at Rapala come and they said, we want to get in the crankbait business. And, Rapala was making jerk baits and all kinds of hard baits, but they just didn't have any crankbaits that were any good. So they had one they called a Down Deep, and it was just different. A lot of people didn't like it because whenever it hit the bottom, it jumped to you, and people didn't like that. But,
I remember the Down Deep. It had that extended lip too.
Yeah, it did, and it didn't last long. You had to buy a sack full of them because the lips would, the kind of material, if you fish rock, the lips would wear out in a day.
Yeah, I remember.
And not that it wouldn't run, but I knew this. I mean, I knew that the baits were going to lose 2 feet in depth, and that's what happened to them. But it was a good fish producing bait. I once won several tournaments on them.
So that win there again at Bugs, you're still on the Stren line in the lose reel, pose 300 or 400, and the Browning rod.
Yep.
Still that combo. All right, now the next
that was everybody.
that was your system. All right.
Yep.
Now the next deal, you go to Florida or to where'd you go to next? Where was your next victory?
It might have been Okeechobee.
Or no, Seminole.
Okay.
94 Seminole. I knew it was Florida.
Yeah.
And that was a trap. That was a lipless, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What and like that was like the days of the big liplesses, right? I mean, you guys were throwing some 3/4 in Florida, and a lot of people weren't doing that at the time.
We were, and I caught most of mine on a hot spot.
Oh God. Okay. Yeah. Why did you say that so reluctantly?
Well, I was trying to think if that was the right name, but that's what it was. It was a Cordell hotspot.
Yeah.
And I still have some in my tackle box.
The old 3/4.
Yep.
And the thing about those spots, if I remember correctly, I hadn't thrown one in a while because of that war pig, of course, but they were a little lighter. They fished a little lighter, didn't they?
They did.
Yeah.
They did. And but unless you're throwing a 1 ounce one, and that's what we done with the war pig. The war pig is probably the best drop bait out there. I mean, if you want to throw a bait out there and catch a fish on the fall, that's probably the bait you need to be throwing. Actually, the boy that won Florida caught him St. John's just past 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, Brian knew that was his cleanup bait. Yep.
Yeah. Yep, it was. I mean, those, like I say, we got a lot of good, well-kept secrets, and they're sort of getting out there, and people, it's catching on, but I tell you what, I think we got a heck of a lineup, and some things we got coming is really going to blow the market.
Well, you
open.
keep saying that. It's like the 4th time you said that. So you know you can only say that once and then not give up more. But now I've counted 4 times. So what are some of the things coming up? Okay? Just nail it. You don't have to come on. Nobody's going to steal it.
I don't know what they're going to release next, so I have to ask them.
It's okay. They said, wait, hold on. Hold on a second. Yeah? I got Dave Baltice and John on speaker. So I'm gonna. Oh, Dave, you could say whatever you want. They said right there. But you got just be vague. Be vague. New things coming up. Be specifically vague.
Well, we're going to be working on another Fritts-side that's a medium depth bait, and I think that with what we have, we're going to it's going to be one of those things where it's beyond okay. So it should be just the same as a Fritts-side, but it's going to run 8 or 9 feet deep, and that's one thing that's sort of on our mind and on the agenda. And obviously, maybe 3 or 4 dredgers made to feel like wood, and with the special things that we've been trying to get a patent on to make them run 4 foot deeper. I think that's probably pretty close to happening.
What about the square bull? What are you going to do to the square bull? Anything?
And these dredgers have been made for probably 4 years. Really? So it's just a matter. Now, it ain't got the wood feel, but we've got everything else down pat.
Right,
so, all we got to do is do our little deal on the inside to make it fish like wood. But what'd you say?
The square bull. What are you doing with the square bull?
I don't know if we need to do anything. I mean, that thing's just a fish catching machine. The only thing that I don't like about the square bull and the diggers is they have that design back with the crosses on them.
Okay.
And I mean, you look at this is a honey shad, but all the grooves in this bait actually changed the color a little bit. So you got to go back.
Hold it a little over, Dave, to your left. Hold it to your left. Yeah, there you go. Show.
See, it's got and this comes from a guy that used to be at Berkeley, and then one of the first baits we made, and he said, "No, we're going to put these." I don't know what they call them. I can't. My mind's sort of bad right now, but
it's all right.
They got grooves because everybody was doing it. I said, it's going to be a lot better if it's slick. because it's going to show the color better. It's going to put off more reflection. So I would like to see that thing done. So any of you guys up there at Berkeley is listening to me. We need to, we probably, as far as doing something with the action and the bait design, it's as good as it gets too. This
Awesome.
used to be their #1 selling bait, and it has sacked a bunch of big ones.
I'd like to see a bigger square bull, like a bigger than the 3.5.
Yeah, well, you will.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. Hey, I want to keep going down these wins a little bit because we're going to see the progression here. 1996, Lake Minnetonka. Like you showed people in Minnesota how to catch fish, how they were not catching them. And I mean, talk to me about that victory. That was a pretty special one for you.
Well, it was, and I talked to a few people, and they said, "Man, that's a good lake, but they just don't bite crankbaits here." And that's what I wanted to hear. They won't bite crankbaits there. And I went up there, and man,
dummies.
Figured out how to fish that grass with them, and finding those single rocks and stuff like that was out there in 15, 16 feet of water right beside the grass. And man, that was fun.
You opened it up, man. What were you throwing that? What was that bait?
The first time I was there, the one I won, I caught them on down deep.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. The OG down deep.
Down deep. That was in like 96 or something like that, 95, 96.
Because that was before the DT, the David Thomas's.
Yeah. That's when I first joined up with them, and we were working on some baits. And but that's that's what I won that tournament on. I won more. I caught some on a pose too, but the down deep would run about 2 foot deeper. Gotcha. Than the best 400 pose. And like I say, you'd have to tie a new one on every day because you'd wear the lip off. But it was a killer bait, and it was something about the way that thing jumped to you, I think, was a big deal up in Minnesota. So
interesting.
But, yeah, still use my Lew's rod and reel.
10-pound line?
Foot, and BB1, and I think I was pretty sure I was still using a string cranking line. I used that stuff forever until they quit and until they sold out. So
okay,
and then Berkeley bought them. So Remington bought it. But anyway,
hey, 97 Forest Wood Cup champion.
Yeah,
pretty damn cool.
Yeah.
You won a Bassmaster Classic, and now you win a Forest Wood Cup.
Mm-hmm.
Not two shabs.
Yeah, I think there's only 4 people that's done that.
Yeah. If Ryan Popcorn Whitaker was here, he would know them all. Height's one of them. Davey Height's one of them.
Yeah, Davey Height, Dion Hibden.
Hibdens.
And Lou Glosson.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is.
Yep, nailed it. Yeah, I mean, in a special victory, and now that's what was. I'm not sure about the bait. I can't think of it. What was the bait on that one? Where are we at?
I caught most of those on a pose.
That was pose.
Yeah, I caught most of those on a pose. I was throwing the down deep some, but they were definitely biting the pose there. They wasn't quite as deep, and they were around a lot of wood. And the pose was a heck of a wood bait. I mean, to fish in wood.
Yeah. And the same rod, same reel, same line.
Yeah. I still use the same rod, the same reel today, except the only thing is it's got the Lew's name on it instead of the Browning. But it's the same action. Old Bob over there at Lew's, he picked me up. But it's the same deal.
All right. Now I'm moving to 2001. I'm jumping up here. All right. Now, I don't want to sound creepy, but I've watched this FLW tournament a zillion times, and that's when you won on Okeechobee. And Kevin Van Dam was second, I believe.
Yeah.
And it was a unique situation where you both were winding plugs on the Big O. It was low water, and I think they're around some dynamite holes or some coral rocks or something. And, man, it was pretty cool. And I cannot figure out the plug. What's the plug? It's a flat plug. What's, no?
Right, this is the winning bait right here.
That one right there? That's opposed like 300 or 400 or something, isn't it?
300. But remember I told you at the start of the show that I had a bait that I've won so many tournaments on? I never even throw it unless I got a chance to win. And I hadn't throwed it in years. And I actually was down there looking through an old box, and I saw this thing. And so I put a 22 rifle cartridge in it, hollowed out, and put a BB in it. So it actually makes a click, almost like a one knocker.
Gotcha.
But this thing right here has won 2 tournaments at Okeechobee. And Lord, where else? I mean, I don't know. I think I won 2 of the Hungry Fisherman tournaments on it. I don't know how many Redmans. I mean, this thing has won probably 10 tournaments. But this is a one-of-a-kind bait. I mean, I never had another one that was as good as this one.
And that's a 300 or 400?
It's a 300.
Show me the bottom of that. Hold that as close to the camera, please, as you can, and over to your left a little. Over a little more, Dave, to the left, please. Okay. Now, so you got the Sure set on there?
Yeah, yep. I designed the Sure sets.
Yeah, I see that. And it's facing out? That front hook is facing forward?
Yeah.
Don't that bind up?
No.
Okay.
If they bite the Sure set, you could always catch them, which I'm going to tell you, Fusion 13s have come a long way and they have impressed me. But this was always my go-to, the Sure set to catch them. But it was this bait. I don't know what it was. And I know this don't even sound real, but I would only throw this bait on the last day if I had a chance to win.
Wow.
I mean, that's how good this bait is, because I was scared I'd lose it. And it had won, I don't know, I probably won 10 tournaments on it. This is the bait I got in my hand right here.
So is that bait right there? Like, have you had to seal it again? Have you had to reseal hook holes and hook points? And
well, I hadn't fished it in years.
But I mean, when you were fishing it, did you have to do that?
I just found it today looking through some old stuff.
Oh wow! Okay? I got that now. Wow.
And I've been looking for it. Not that I would use it, but
no, I don't believe that.
If I got a chance to win, but I think I got things that's better now. But in this day, this was a king.
Wow!
I mean, I would not take $100,000 for this bait.
And you took it. You have a shell inside it. What type of shell? What gauge?
It's a 22 rifle cartridge. And me and Ed Chambers did this to some of them. Because we always tinker together. You know, Ed Chambers he's a Zoom man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And he loved crankbaits, and I'd go visit him all the time because he was interested in modifying stuff. And so anyway, we took some 22 rifle cartridges and took the bullet out, took all the stuff out, ground the head off just a little. And what you do, you cut the other one to where to slide inside of this one, and put you he had some of these brass beads, maybe they was even copper, I don't know, but anyway, give it that click, 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 click.
Yeah.
And then
look at you, you're so excited about that bait.
Well, if I showed the guys at Berkeley this bait, I think I showed Dan Spangler this bait and told him about it. And it's just hard to believe that, but that's how wood was. You had this one bait that no matter where you threw it, I mean, you're going to catch hundreds of fish, hundreds. And this thing has caught thousands. So
unreal. Like David Fritz's secret bait is right there, and you just found it. Like,
and I don't even fish it anymore.
Wow. Man, I don't know. You better keep
But
that in the boat, Dave.
I want you to look at something.
Please.
Now, I know this is new, but, this is our 14.5, and this is where this 14.5 come from. And I'm going to tell you what, that 14.5 is a heck of a bait. This is a Dredger 14.5.
Yeah.
It's almost an image, but we figured out how to make water flow over these to make them run deeper. So, we're figuring out stuff, and most companies when they come out with a bait, somebody says, "Well, we got this crankbait," and they're a manufacturer. You want to sell it, and that's how most crankbaits come around where we develop them.
Man, I mean, and I'm pretty impressed by that bait. Bring that.
That's where the 14.5 dredger comes from, and I'm gonna tell you that 14.5, it will get them, and especially when we make it fish like wood here in a few years, you're really gonna see something.
I want it now. I don't have a few years, Dave.
I do too.
Hey,
I might go up there in a couple weeks and just make me one.
Let's go up there. Let's go up and knock on the door. I'm with you. We'll bring Matt Robertson with us too. He's the new Berkeley guy. You know him.
Yeah.
We'll bring him. We'll go knock down the door over there at Berkeley. Hey, can you bring that pose plug with you to Pickwick? I want to take a look at it over there.
Yeah.
Now I'll take a look at that. That's a dandy right there.
Yeah, it's
that needs to be in a museum, dude. If you're not going to throw it, put it in the damn museum.
I got my rod and reel and my Clasic box with all the old pose that I won the Clasic in. It's in the Hall of Fame at Bass Pro Shop right now. I got to get it back because I don't want anything to happen to it.
You're welcome for me reminding you.
Dave. Yeah. Yeah, you might want to take a picture of this bait.
Oh yeah, we got it. I want to see it when I bring it to Pickwick for real. I'm gonna be out there.
Look how much shine and gloss and all that good stuff is on this bait.
There's all kinds of good luck and wojo on that thing, man. That's
why it's so good. It doesn't jump out at you. It ain't. I mean,
we used to fade baits.
One of the things I think that makes this so good, and this is the clear Fritts-side. It's like. It ain't nothing real fancy.
Is that the Ray Dawn Chong, the AM PM mini market? Is that? Yeah.
But they, man, them fish bite it. I mean,
they love that color. They love that AM Dawn, or whatever it is.
That morning dawn is. I really hadn't found one that they wouldn't bite yet. So any color. So if you ain't got the right color, just tie one on. They'll bite it.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt about it. Hey, all right. So your last victory, okay, that I recall, and correct me if I'm wrong. All right, that was 2009 Gunnersville.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. And that was
I won 2 in a row. I won the one before that on Park Hill.
Oh, okay, gotcha. And what was that? What was that one?
It was FLW, but it was a FLW series.
Okay. Well, and that was cranking too? Because I don't remember this one.
Yep, I won that one cranking. I won it actually I almost broke a record if I hadn't come in so late the first day. I got scared. I almost was late one day, the second day because of the weather. And I think, I got this thing won. I'm 15 pounds ahead. So, but yeah, that was $100,000 tournament too. So,
yeah, but I apologize. No disrespect. I did not remember that one right there.
Yeah, that's I won it, and it was in the. When was it? In the fall of 8, maybe. I don't know. It was in the fall.
Of what year, Dave?
One single tree, and they were all suspended. I just had to get my boat exactly perfect to where my bait was coming up, where the fish were at.
Wow. What was that one? What was that plug?
Raffle.
Was that DTs now?
Yep, that was DTs. I actually I catch them on the 16, and then the fish would sort of come up, and then I had a 14 tied on, which was my favorite one. Then I had a 10 tied on, and once I caught one of them, I just automatically, because I pulled the fish up, it'd be right there. I could see them, like 10 of them. So I would go to either the 10 or the 14, throw it out there, and just keep catching them. But that was a fun deal. And then Gunnersville, I caught every one of them on DT10.
Right, I remember that one.
Yeah.
And now was this still
I caught 2 big ones on a jig, but everything else come on DT10.
Accidentally. You accidentally caught 2 big ones.
Accidentally. You're right.
So was this still copolymer? What's the line? We're all the way in the 2000s now.
Yeah. It was either Sensation, and I used some braid, but see the X9 wasn't out, and the X5, which is a heck of a line, and you could actually throw it pretty good for a crankbait, but I don't think it was out yet, so it was probably Sensation.
Yeah, it was definitely not out. The X9 and X5 were not out in 2009, I promise you.
Yeah, I don't think they haven't been out long.
So you're still, but here's what I'm getting at, and everybody has been texting me all day, and they're like, Pat, please ask David Fritts again about why he cranks with braid. That sounds ridiculous. So,
well, the braided line is just like that reel. It helps you feel. When you got the less stretch your line has in it, the better you can feel. And plus, you ain't got to rear back. You just sort of pull on the fish and just keep whining and you catch them. Especially if you got like Fusion 13 hooks or something real good.
And
I got my glass rod, and it's just a matter of just doing that, and you've caught it.
I mean, but here's what I don't get, man. It seems unfathomable to me to use on a wind-in thing. And you and I have said this before, and you do the same grin at me and laugh at me and roll your eyes at me every time because you're a crankbait king and I'm just a talk show host. But like you were so damn good with copolymer. Like, what made you switch? What was the switch? Why?
Well, I don't remember if it was West Point Lake or one of those lakes, and all these fish kept getting me wrapped up in trees, breaking my line. And I said, I'm going to put on something that won't break quite as easy. So I put on some braid because, you can put on 25-pound braid or 20-pound braid or whatever, and it's 10-pound diameter.
Sure.
And then when I done that, I noticed that, man, I can just feel every dang thing this bait does, every move that it makes. And that sort of got me hooked on it a little bit, because no matter what anybody tells you, the most important thing you can ever learn about crankbait fishing is feeling that bait. The better you can feel it, the better you become. And I have told that for years, and that is that's the bottom line. The better you can feel your bait, the more you're going to catch.
The more you can feel the bait, the more you're going to catch. And you switched from the copolymer to the braid for more feel. More feel.
And I'm throwing some braid now, but I'm throwing a coated braid along with the X5, but I've got a coated braid and I'm just about out of it. I mean, they don't even make it anymore. But it had a mono coating on it.
Oh my goodness! That's what you're throwing right now. That's what you're throwing at Tennessee River.
I still got a little bit of it, but you can actually throw it as far as mono or further with zero stretch. But the problem is that the coating starts coming up. Most people would probably last a week or two. With me, usually 2 days, and I gotta start taking it off that much off because the coating comes off of it.
Sure.
But man alive, it's fun. I mean, it just because it throws so good. And then when Berkeley came out with the X5 and X9, I thought, man. And the only difference is it hadn't got that coating, and it's probably a few less yards in casting, but it's pretty dang good.
What do you like, the 9 or the 5?
I believe I like the 5 better.
Okay. With the less strands.
Thin, and it doesn't seem to jam up in your spool quite as bad. And, that's a problem with braid, especially when you're using light, diameter. And the thing that I like is, you can have a high poundage and have 8-pound diameter. And if you're going to throw a bad shad or some of these other baits, boy, 8-pound diameter really helps that bait. It brings it to life.
So what size X5 are you cranking your Fritz-sides with? 20 pound?
Yeah,
Okay. So and that has a 10-pound diameter, pretty
Yeah.
close, right?
yeah.
Gotcha.
Close.
Gotcha.
I mean, you can use 12-pound, but you got to remember, the heavier the line, it takes away a little bit of the action of the bait. And because you have the bait doing this and your line's doing that, and people don't never look at that. Well, you go to a bigger line, what happens?
It
It
goes out.
starts resisting the water a little more, so it slows this down.
Sure.
And it's a big deal.
Well, let me ask you this. You know how everybody says in cold water that the subtler baits, do you ever upsize your line to make the bait more subtle in cold water, or is that just nonsense?
I use 10-pound test, 99.9%. One time in my life, I used 14. And that's because I was fishing a bunch of flooded bushes in Texas at Falcon, and they were like giant fish. I mean, it started with 100 pounds or something like that. But first day I broke all the records at 38 pounds. Either weighed 38 or 39.
Wow.
And then the next day that got broke. The next day it got broke again. But it's and I was catching every one of them cranking those bushes. And what happened? The water had come up so fast, and the bushes were out there in about 14, 15 feet of water. And I probably could have got more bites with my lighter line, but I was really, I hooked the biggest fish I ever hooked in my life. And I'm talking about over 15 pounds. And he actually, I can say this now, but he actually crushed it so much that he broke the lip out of my DT.
Oh my
Biggest
gosh.
ever in my life.
That's fierce.
I wound it in, I had the lip.
Damn tarpon.
And that usually doesn't happen. But the fish was so big, he couldn't even jump. He come up and went sideways, and I thought, I could not do nothing with this fish.
Oh
the biggest thing I've ever had hooked by far in my life.
My goodness. That's insane.
Yeah, it is.
So just to reiterate, the changing point, the enlightenment that you had was that you were breaking fish off, so you went to braid. And then you didn't turn back.
Standing timber.
Say it again?
In standing timber.
In standing timber.
It would get me and wrap me up and break my line.
So you went to the braid and you haven't looked back. And you didn't change the rod and you didn't change the reel.
Mm-mm.
You went to the braid.
Yeah.
What do you do with your drag? That's got to change.
Not really. I run a light drag anyway because I can move my rod up. This cranking rod's sort of built, the loose rod. When you pick up on it, you can put a lot of pressure on fish. You really can.
Okay.
But it's just sort of, and I still use sensation a lot. I still like mono on my small minnow baits, and I still like mono on a lot of my small baits. Now on the Fritz-side, that thing, it don't matter what you use on it, they're going to bite it. So it's just fun to because you talking about feeling every move that bait makes. You hadn't felt nothing till you throw that on braid. I sit there and I showed the guy with me last week. I said, "Now what?" He said, "You hold your rod almost facing your lure. Why don't you hold your rod sideways?" So I held my rod sideways and I'm winding it, and you can see your rod, but you can see a lot of tension on it. Then when I held my rod and pointed at the fish and just moved it a few degrees, you could really see that tip thumping. I said, "See how much you can see that?" Well, I can feel that. So, they ain't nothing no funner than.
Gosh, I don't know. I tell you all the time, I'm going to try it, and I still haven't. I'm sorry for lying to you, but I'm going to try.
Yeah.
I got to try braid. I got to.
You need to try that reel. That
I know.
reel can make you or break you. It's just the reel is. It can help anybody in crankbait fishing, spinnerbait fishing, chatterbait fishing, any retrievable bait. It can help you.
Have you ever felt you lost a fish because your reel was too slow?
No,
Never.
never.
Come at you. Or
Yep.
none of that.
Well, I'm using a 7.5 foot rod, and I got a lot of swinging power. So yeah, I don't think I've ever lost one because it was.
Don't lay into them.
And I've lost them when I went up because I used to use 6.4s a lot, and that's you're going from 21 IPT to about 29, 28 IPT.
Yeah, I'm familiar.
What happens is they get the back hook or they knock at it because they can't catch up with it. Especially because I like to wind fast, even though I'm using a 21 IPT, I'm still winding pretty fast.
Yeah, I noticed that. You're moving.
Yeah. And if you give me a bigger reel with a higher ratio and a bigger IPT, man, I'm smoking it. I lose half the fish that bite it.
Man, and maybe, yeah, I've seen that. That could be baits moving too fast. But then they say you can't move a bait fast enough to take it away from a bass. What's that mean?
You can.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, you can. David Fritts says. So they're tracking it.
You might not be able to move it so fast that he won't bite at it, but you're going to move it too fast, you won't catch him.
Do you still set the drag with your lips? I've seen you do that before.
Take my lips and pull it out.
Because that's the perfect indicator.
Yeah.
That's the governor, the David Fritts drag governor, like on the U-Haul.
Pretty light. So that way I can put the pressure on the fish, and then if he wants to make a hard run, I just point the rod at him. It's like he's not even hooked, and he'll actually go down. You ever see a fish coming up? If you'll take that pressure off of him, he'll go back down. But you know well as I do, you want to see what he looks like, you just keep on winding, and you'll get to see him.
Yeah.
Probably in a bad way.
That's for sure.
Going that way.
That's for sure, man. Hey, let's get a little more in depth. Let's get to know you as a person. Okay? Let's get personal and let's get a little more technical at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay.
Are you okay with that?
I reckon.
Okay. Maybe is a maybe. Do you consider yourself a one-dimensional angler?
For years everybody told me I'd never be successful because all I wanted to throw was a crankbait. But that's not necessarily true. I won a tournament on a jig. I've caught tons of fish on plastics, and actually caught quite a few fish on a spinnerbait over the years. But I'm probably as one-dimensional as anybody could be. I mean, obviously anybody fishes is going to throw different things, but you got to realize when you throw one bait all the time, you learn a lot about it.
Sure do.
And you become very prolific at it.
Yeah, man. I mean, and it's the dance with who brung you thing with you. Yeah.
You got maybe a month and a half, maybe 2 months out of the year that you can't catch them with some kind of crankbait.
So you're okay with sink or swim when it comes to winding the plug? Obviously, you're okay with it. You're comfortable with you about it.
Yeah.
That's a good deal, man. That's why you're successful, That's why you're successful. I mean, lightning can't even stop you, can it?
It tried.
Man, it caught up with you. Tell us what the heck happened to you? You got zapped.
Yeah, I was at Paducah, Kentucky, fishing the Ohio River in a BASS event, and this storm come on, and I noticed that the sirens and stuff were going off. I'm thinking, man, and I ain't never got down in my boat, never. And I thought, I'm just going to get down here, and that was before all our good Lowrance trolling motors, spot lock trolling motors and stuff. So you go wherever the wind blows you. And I leaned over, and then all of a sudden, I felt like heat run up my back.
Oh, geez. Wow.
And for a split second there, I guess it knocked me out because I cut my face on that little thing that I always leave mine turned, where you open your front rod, your front box.
Yeah, the latch.
And it cut me, and then it fried everything in my boat. I mean, motor wouldn't crank. It fried it.
Oh my God.
Fried it all. And then about 2 weeks later, I started seeing double and triple vision. And
2 weeks later.
yeah, probably around 2 weeks later. And I had to go to, what do you call an eye doctor? That's ophthalmologist that was for kids. And they put these prisms that were crossed every which way, like contacts or something. Anyway, it finally straightened my eyes back out. But I had a lot to deal with there for a little bit.
Wow, yeah, I remember that, man. That was crazy.
You get a new respect for lightning. I can tell you that.
Wow. So are you do you have like PTSD with lightning now? Does it freak you out or what?
No, not really. But I go look for a bridge or a boathouse or somewhere because I was just out there and if it's real bad, this day and time, I go put my boat on the trailer and just wait in the parking lot if I'm not too far away.
Yeah, because you got plenty of crank plugs to make.
You learn a lot of respect from. Nature is something you have to deal with, and it can be brutal.
Yeah, and you hear about that a lot, but and a lot of us are so, for lack of a better term, such bass Nazis that we're gonna stay out there no matter what.
Yeah,
and we got to learn that it ain't worth it sometimes.
Well, I call them dummies now. I used to be a dummy, but
I'm still a dum. I promise. But think about this: if you didn't come in and keep yourself safe from the lightning, then you couldn't enjoy yourself any delicious watermelon, could you?
Yeah, right.
Have you ever had watermelon Italian ice?
Yes.
Oh my God, it's delicious, Dave.
Mm-hmm.
There's a place called Jody's Italian Ice around here.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Oh my goodness, and they got watermelon, and there's little chunks of watermelon in there, and oh my God, it's good. But like I heard that you hold the Guinness Book of World Record for the most amount of watermelons consumed in a lifetime. Is that true?
Well, it could be. I used to eat one a day during the season.
A whole watermelon.
20 acres. Yeah, me and my son would eat one every day, sometimes two.
That's a
but
lot
I
of
don't
melon.
eat it as much as I used to. I used to just love watermelon, and I still do. But boy, I don't eat it quite as much as I used to.
Do you like the watermelon now or laters? Or Jolly Ranchers?
I don't know if I ever had one.
Oh my goodness, they're like heaven.
Watermelon bubble gum. Chewing gum that she just bought me, and it's pretty tasty.
Make sure get yourself some watermelon Jolly Ranchers. That'd be good.
Right.
It'd be good for the derb. I promise. It'll get. Hey, do you suck at topwater fishing?
Pretty much. I can throw a buzzbait pretty good. I can throw a devil's horse, buzzbait, devil's horse, and some of the older baits. I used to love throwing a boy howdy.
Oh yeah.
And we have at Berkeley some of the best dang topwater baits, and man alive, it seems like everything they make is like the best they are, and I probably hit that nail on the head to start with, because they care about making a quality product that catches more fish, and I say that up on stage, and I've never been around a company that says catch more fish and they mean it.
But you still have problems with topwater. That's got to be mental. That's you.
Yeah. It is. Well, topwater for me, a lot of times when they're biting topwater, I can find them on a little 10-foot ridge and catch them a lot faster. And that's usually what I'm looking for.
You need to channel the old days of the deadly Dudley. That's what you need to do. Channel those old deadly. Remember those old deadly Dudleys?
Yeah, did you get that from me? That used to be my favorite bait.
I know. You told me about that a long time ago.
Well, did you hear about a day?
I know it. I read your file, dude. I'm a bass fishing talk show host. You guys got to pay the light bill by catching fish. I got to pay the light bill by talking. So, you got any deadly Dudleys laying around?
No, I wish I could. I wish I had some. I played that thing every day. That was sort of one of the deals, it was winding like my crankbait, but man, I caught a tremendous amount of fish on those things. I used to go up in the back of Abbott's Creek, which is on High Rock, and this when I had a little John boat, a little 20 horsepower engine, and it was like, man, them were the days anyway. And when you was just learning to fish and learning all kinds of new stuff, and they would bite that thing, and I'm thinking, man, because I was catching all these 4 and 5 pounders, and just throw it out there and wind it by a stump or wind it over a tree, and man,
if you'd have had that on the St. John River, if you'd have been at that event, if you'd have been able to fish it,
yep,
that'd have been your bait.
Currituck Sound, some of those tidal water that we have in the Carolinas and up the East Coast, that was a really good bait too.
Yeah, man.
Really good bait. But
the Deadly Dudley.
Yeah, I can't believe you remember me telling you that. I'm impressed.
I've been around this game a minute. I don't know. Hey, what would you rather do? Throw a Carolina rig, a biffle toe, like a biffle bug type. I mean, a hard head deal.
Yeah.
Or go flipping. Carolina rig, a hard head, or go flipping. Pick one.
That's a no-brainer for me. I'm gonna pull a Carolina rig.
You're gonna throw the ball and chain.
Even though I like the biffle bug pretty good, but I've caught so many fish on a Carolina rig over the years. It's just sort of like my go-to bait when that or a general. Berkeley makes a bait called a general.
Oh yeah.
And I have Carolina rigged it very successfully. And I've also I like to put a nail in it like that and put it on a short leader about that long. And I'm telling you some secrets now I shouldn't be telling you.
Yeah, keep going.
But man, that thing is so awesome. And it's a lot better bait than
why you put the nail in it on a C rig?
Well, I ain't got no weight.
Oh, with no weight.
Up there. I just got a swivel that far in front of it, like a.
Oh, I missed that part.
Carolina rig.
Oh, you dirty dog.
And I'm talking about fishing in 15, 20 feet of water with no weight, nothing but a nail in it.
Is that right? And the nail's in the tail?
No, I like to put it right. If I could center it where the point of the hook comes out, but usually you got to put it a little forward of center.
I see.
Where the point comes out,
so it doesn't interfere with the hook.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Man, that bait. Everybody's throwing Senkos, and the general just lasts so much longer. I really think it's going to be a better bait.
That's Maxent General. I've seen it kick a Senko's ass many times.
I have too. I mean, that thing is very. And another one of them things that they have not many people know about or they're learning. But man, that's a heck of a bait. And I love it just because you get a bite on a Senko, you want to put a bait on it.
Yeah.
one bite. And Gary has given me a bunch of those things over the years, and I've caught a bunch of them on it. But I like the general.
How many spin rods you got in that boat?
I think somebody asked me that last week. I don't even know how to throw a spinning reel.
It'll all get away from you. Phew! It's so bad.
The last time I had one was probably in the 70s. And when I threw it, about a whole wad of line went off with it, and that was the end of my spinning reel days.
Oh my God. So what do you do what are you going to do when you go north? You're still going to wind because you don't care.
Hey, Lou's makes a rod in a 6.6 and a 7, and they make it in a Pro TI, a purple one. that's extremely lightweight, 7 foot, medium. It's just a medium. It's really, really soft. And you can throw a drop shot, a shaky head, it don't matter what. And I mean, I think I can fish it just as good as a spinning reel. The only difference is a spinning reel, you can make it drop straight down, where most of the time mine's going to sort of come to me. But man, I feel a lot better with that Pro TI.
It's a little more comfy, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
It's like sleeping with that old lose you bought for yourself.
Yeah. I had never told anybody that. I mean, I was just that proud of that reel. I mean, you know, you've wanted something for 5, 6, 7 years and never had the money to buy it. So I took the money that I had for my graduation and bought it. So that was one of my best gifts to me ever.
That's so awesome, man. And I relate. I saved up for a Shimano Bantam 100 is what I saved up for back in the day.
You have to save up for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
My truck didn't come with 45-inch rims back in the day. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Hey, all right, I got a little question for you here. I know you like tasteful music with some bite to it.
Yeah.
With some bite to it, like some Ozzy, some Randy Rhoads. I mean, I see you got the hair, Dave. You could. I mean, you got the hair for a little headbanging. I see it there. It's quite an impressive frock you have going there right now. But I got to ask you a little battle here. Take Ozzy Osbourne and Randy Rhoads versus David Lee Roth and Eddie Van Halen. Like, I mean, I know that's a tough one.
Yeah,
I know it's tough, but out of that bunch right there, who's the motivator? Are you going like Tony Iommi, Ozzy? I don't know. Are you Randy Rhoads, Ozzy? Or are you Tony Iommi, Ozzy?
I like both of them, but Randy Rhoads is, I think, the best guitar player that's ever been. But I mean, he brings everything to life. And actually, when I was having them play Paranoid last year, I said I want the Randy Rhoads version of it. And they didn't get it, but
I'll make a call for you.
Randy Rhoads, but I'm gonna stick with Ozzy just because I'm just a huge fan.
Ozzy's amazing.
I would take him fishing.
You what?
I would take him fishing.
Absolutely, dude. Now I'm gonna make you really jealous right now. Are you ready?
Yeah.
You ever heard of Denny Brower?
Yeah.
Okay. Denny Brower was doing shots in a New York alley with Ozzy Osbourne behind the David Letterman studios. True story. And Ozzy was backlashing Denny's shit. He was throwing the bait, just blowing it up everywhere. And Denny said that Ozzy actually dinged up the limo with a Denny Brower Pro model jig. That's pretty impressive. Are you jealous right now of Denny a little bit? Just a little?
Yeah. I would have liked to have been doing that.
That's outstanding. So you're a big Ozzy fan, man. Like, that's your deal. Like, if you look at David Fritts, like some kid today would not think that you are a fan of the Prince of Darkness.
I know it. I just like the music. I mean, it's just a lot of people don't, but he got more popular when he got old than he was when he was young. But I remember at a church outing, we was at summer camp or something, and I woke up and this music was going on, and it was Iron Man, and I thought, my God, that's the best thing I ever heard in my life, and just so different. And here I am, probably 12 years old, but.
Oh man, that's amazing. And so is like that the jam? Is that your jam, the Iron Man, or is it? I mean, is that the Ozzy song to you? Is that the defining David Fritts anthem?
Yeah, it was. I think Paranoid is what it is right now. But I like all the Randy Rhoads combinations where you got Children of the Grave breaking into another song. The combination that they done.
Yeah, in Flying High Again, that's another good one.
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
lot of good ones.
Yeah.
I've got about every CD that he's made out there in my truck.
That's awesome. So that's what David Fritts is doing when you're cruising around between derbs. You're jamming some Ozzy and thinking about crankbaits and your beautiful wife. That's and bass.
Old time radio too. Now I do that. I listen to that a lot.
To the what radio?
Huh?
Which radio, David?
Radio Classics, the one that's got Gunsmoke and
all
the old TV shows, old radio shows.
Is that on the XM?
Yeah, it's on XM.
And it's called Classics.
Yep.
Oh, okay. So it's got like the Shadow and all that kind of stuff too, and
Shadow, Long Ranger,
Abbott's and Costellos and all them.
They got them all.
No shit. Okay. Okay. We'll have to...
My favorite one's Johnny Dollar.
Oh, wow. See, my pops used to like all that stuff. I remember he actually had cassettes of that because he used to listen to that stuff when he was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the Shadow knows. He had all.
Yeah. My daughter bought me a Radio Classic CD, Johnny Dollar CD for Christmas.
I just got the Bassmaster Secrets of Big Bass Catching on the Elite Series 2 in the mail today with my Bassmaster renewal. I sure did. Yeah. I got it for free. But anyway, hey, let's go back to technique a little. We talked a little bit about the musical side of David Fritts, but how important to you is boat position in crankbait fishing in correlation with your retrieve? Now think about that.
Well, you heard me say that I won Clark's Hill. I had to get to where my bait was coming up where the fish were at.
Mm-hmm.
But it's boat positioning can be everything. I mean, it can be the difference between. That's why I used to. Back in the olden days, I'd look over there and somebody'd be fishing where I wanted to be fishing. And I'm thinking, hey, don't worry about it. We're going to go over and catch them when they leave. And, the guy with me or Jerry would say, well, why do you think that? He said, he's right on it. I said, nah, he ain't exactly right on it. But almost every tournament I've ever won, boat position has been a big key.
No. Okay. So, and people overlook that. People are always like, boat position is so important. Yet you do it.
Angle and boat positioning.
Say it again.
Angle and boat positioning is two of the most overlooked things.
And you do it, and other professional anglers do it almost subconsciously. But I see so many, let's just say recreational or weekend derb anglers that could be so much better if they would just pay attention to that little cue, that little clue of boat position versus retrieve ratio. Do you agree with that, Dave?
I agree with it 100%.
It's
because I can't tell you how many times I've been fishing and I look down my flasher and I'm thinking, you know what, that looks like fish right under my boat, and I pull out. And most people couldn't do that back in the day. They couldn't just move out and catch 20, 22 pounds. I mean, it's happened to me.
22 pounds.
Lots.
Do you got that? You got that live scan deal? You got that live scoper?
Mine hadn't come in yet. Mine's still back ordered. Yeah, I think Cheryl's going to have it for me. I hope by the time we get to one of those kind of tournaments. But then I got to learn how to use it.
Yeah, but here's the thing: like the way you fish, if you dial that thing in, that's like. I mean, I know you like the flasher. I know you got one coming on the new boat. It's probably installed by now. But I mean, think about has that crossed your mind? How potentially dangerous you could be with the way you like to wind a plug in the combination of that live scope scan thing. I don't know what the heck you call it.
Yeah. Has
that crossed your mind? Has that thought crossed your mind?
It has. Like I say, I I may have to go with one of the young guys. Let them show me how to use it.
We'll hook you up with a Berkeley guy. We'll get you out there with a dude.
Right.
We'll get you out with Matt Robertson. But you got to let him throw that secret plug you got over there.
Yeah.
That secret pose. Don't tell anybody though. Don't tell nobody about it. But yeah, I mean, I think about it. The live scope, the live scan with you and being able to scan the perimeter is gonna, like, man, this is AOY David Fritz.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean, dude? You're already come in one derb and like, so wait, how does that work? Because you missed a derb. So how does that work with the points and stuff for you now?
Well, I think they're going to let us drop one tournament. They sort of voted on that before St. John. So they're going to let you drop your worst one.
Oh, good for you. Okay. Yeah.
So I wanted to go so bad because I usually do real good on St. John's. I mean, but I wasn't in no shape to go.
I know you weren't, and it was killing you. I talked to you, and you were like, "Man, I really want to." Dang, you wanted to do the show last week on the night of the Derb. I'm like, Dave, you just got over COVID. You got to rest and catch fish.
That's right.
Oh my gosh. Hey, so you never vary your system except the line, and I find that intriguing. Like going all the way back to just the early, like 30 years, and the only variation is the line, and it's simply to feel. That's it, man. And you have watched a lot of crankbait anglers over the years. You've watched Kevin Van Dam. You've of course watched Rick Clunn. You've watched Jerry Lohr. You've watched him. You know, you've got to witness guys like Fred Young and fish with old Ed Chambers and Lee Sisson and Jim Bagley. And I got to ask you this: besides yourself, who is the crankbait fisherman? Who is the crankbait fisherman to David Fritz?
There's a few new guys coming along. I don't know. Probably. I don't think anybody sticks with it and as hard-headed as I am, but I think, what's the boy from Texas that lives down on Falcon?
Combs?
Yeah,
he likes to
he
wind the
might
plug.
be the closest thing to it.
Yeah, Combs is always winding the plug. There ain't no doubt about it. He kind of lives or dies by it like you a lot of times, too.
Yeah, he
Or else
winds it a lot.
He'll change it up and throw a Carolina rig at him like you every once in a while. Throw the old Carolina. Okay, so who's your favorite guy? Who's your favorite guy in professional fishing on the elites right now? Who you digging right now? Who you like watching on the Bassmaster clips?
Well, I'm still sort of old school. I mean, Scott Canterbury, we fished on the USA team together, and I think a lot of Scott. And I beat him on Gunnersville one time, and he still jokes about it. He was leading the tournament, and I was in like 8th or 9th. And I still think a lot of Rick Clunn. Rick, it's amazing that somebody that's, I don't know, he's 5 or 6, 7 years older than me, or maybe 10, I don't know, but that can keep doing it at the pace he's doing it. I'm thinking, man, alive.
Something else.
He's always impressed me. Larry Nixon and Rick Clunn was always my favorite.
Yeah, and Larry's back at it too. We just had him on a little bit ago. He's back at it, plugging away too. And Clunn's like you. Clunn's gonna live or die by the wind, and he's gonna wind a spinnerbait, or he's gonna wind a plug, or some kind of chatter bladed deal or something. And you know what? If he ain't, if it ain't happening, it ain't happening. He's all right with it. He's okay with himself about that. Hey, we're winding things up. I know you got to get a little bit of rest and dream about get visions of sugar plums and crankbaits in your head. But
we got to figure out what we're going to do next over at Berkeley.
Exactly. But speaking of Berkeley, I want to talk a little bit about the Fritz-side a little more, and then we're going to give away some biggins. All right, we're going to give away 8 biggins. All right, so they're going to text you the winner. I think they talked to you about that or something, or your wife or something. They're going to get you the winner to announce the 8 biggins. But so
right.
there's basically 5 different Fritz-sides, and I say this proudly that I have become intimate with 4 of them. I do not understand the 9 yet. I have not thrown the 9. But the junior,
it's only an 8 pound. That's an 8 pound catcher there.
Okay. I
True story. When one bites it, he's 7 or 8 pounds.
Okay, I'm gonna throw a 9 then. But I heard you say something on the Bassmaster Live the other day, and you said I'm throwing the biggin, the Fritz-side 5 biggin, brand new this year, that and the junior. And you said that the Fritz-side 5 biggin, you're throwing it has a little different action than the original 5.
It does.
What do you mean by that? Like, you didn't explain it. I think I know the answer.
But the Fritz-side big one is a thinner bait. It's not quite as wide. It's a ½ inch longer. And the action is, I thought it was the best one. It was made when the other ones were made. They just didn't come out with it. It's sort of like baits that we have now. We've got baits, but they're just not out yet. But it's got more of a speed shad action, more of a glide.
Yes.
Probably not quite as much roll like the regular 5. That's such a good crawdad action. This has more of a glide.
Like that flap slap mega bass too. If you've ever seen that bait, I don't know, but anyway, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a big fish catcher. I mean, I caught, should have had 3 5-pounders the last day on it.
What was the problem? They weren't eating it right or what?
Huh?
They weren't eating it right? What was the problem?
No, I just lost one. The water was pretty dirty where I was, and I don't know. He just didn't get in his mouth right. So,
okay, I get it.
And they were biting sort of strange. I mean, either they would choke it or you'd have one hook in them.
That's how I find it a lot of times, quite frankly, on the Fritz-side. Yeah. But this is the way. I think it's because of the tracking, David, because I think they track that bait. But here's the thing: I would rather at least hook them with only one hook in them than not get a bite at all. You know what I mean?
But you'll catch them with one hook.
Oh yeah.
I mean, if you get it in, you'll catch them. But I still think it's got the probability of still being the best one. One thing, it runs 2 foot deep.
So how deep does that bait run on your system, on your 10-pound line
that bait
system?
Right there will run 6. I got it hung in 6 feet of water several times.
Okay, and then
this is a 6/8 rod, and I'd have it all the way down to where my reel was in the water to push it loose.
Whoa, okay, okay, I get it. So where were you pointing the rod on the retrieve to get that depth? Is that based on what?
Yeah, that's making the cast and holding the rod just a little bit off center.
Okay, gotcha.
And it's I love it. And I was going to tell you, one of my friends in North Carolina, he runs Rock Outdoors, and they're a big Berkeley dealer too. And he went to Lake Norman. What has it been, 3 or 4 weeks ago? I mean, the first tournament of the year, and blowed them away on it. I mean, blowed them away. Won the tournament. And he sent me a picture, Fritz-side 5 biggin. He was tickled, but he wasn't telling too many people either. They try to keep all this stuff a secret. And we also got this junior. So
I love that too.
Yeah, it's boy, if you get under the right grass situations and stuff, and pond fishing, up north fishing. I'm gonna tell you what. Now that dang Junior is the deal.
It
It's
throws
got
really
the
good.
same action as the 5. It's just a little smaller and doesn't run quite as deep.
It does throw really, really nice too.
Let me tell you, if you can't throw a crankbait, I ain't coming out with it. That's the number one thing you have to be able to throw it, because it's no fun throwing something that you get a backlash every 5 or 10 minutes. It's no fun.
The thing with the Fritz-side, I gotta say, is I don't necessarily understand the hook sizing on the baits, the Fusion 19s, especially on the biggin. I don't understand why you did that. Well, they seem a little small for me.
Well, you can put some bigger hooks, but let me tell you something. Biggest mistake fishermen make is put too big of hooks on their bait. One thing, the smaller the hook, the less diameter, the easier it penetrates. And as long as you keep thinking like that, you're on the right track. I used to think, dang, lipless crankbait, when we threw rattle traps all them years, man, I got to get me a big old hook on the front. I got to do something. And still kept losing them. Then for some reason, I put number 6s on it, which is a tiny hook.
Yeah, that's a little one, crappie hook.
I mean, there's a 6 like his DT 6s got on it. Little tiny hook. And I never lost one. I quit losing them.
Isn't that something?
And I kept telling that. I said, everybody asked me, I said, put your number 6 hook on the back and you'll quit losing. That's with a lipless crankbait. And that's a true story.
Hey, that's something else. And so you throw the stock hooks that come right on your Fritz-sides, right out of the package. The Fusion 19s, right there.
Yep.
Those are the ones you throw.
There's not a hook made that will stay sharper longer than those hooks. I've been so impressed with them, and I really have. I'm just not saying that. They stay sharp. They're about the right diameter. Now, we had some that the diameter was bigger on them, but they got rid of them. They got the diameter right. And, it used to be like VMC vanadium hooks. They were a thinner diameter and you catch everything. I don't know. You can see this place right here on my thumb. Well, I sit there and I got my bait hung in a tree because I usually don't fish close to the bank. And I broke that thing off, and my rod fell or something and drove that hook all the way past the barb, and right there in my thumb. Now,
oh,
this
my
was
goodness.
the first day of the tournament. So, you know what I do? I go back there and cut me off a piece of braid and get that front hook off and jerk it out. But those things are dangerous. I mean, that's how good they are. They're so good they are dangerous.
They are sticky sharp.
Yeah.
And speaking of sticky sharp, I know we're in cold water season, and I'm backtracking a minute before we get to the giveaway. But I got to ask you again about. I know you had a big hand in that war pig, and I just got to state how amazing of a lipless plug that is. And I just want to ask you: are you using that same 10-pound line system with the war pigs, with the, from the quarters to the 3/4? Is that the same deal? That 10-pound braid deal?
If I use a quarter, I do. But when I like to drop fish that. I mean, that was the second bait that I made at Berkeley, and I actually made it with my hands with a piece of clay.
Wow.
And it's a one of a kind bait. It's a better drop bait than it is a wine bait, and it's really, really weedless. But no, I would use 14 on that, just because you can get by with it.
I get you.
Especially when I'm letting it fall on a slack line, diameter line ain't gonna make any difference.
I'm with you. Describe what it does. Why is it the best on the fall? And are you pumping it? Is that the retrieve you're using the majority of the time?
Because we designed it to be fished on the fall.
Okay.
And that was looked at more than just retrieving it. Because a bait that they will bite on the fall becomes a very versatile bait. You can fish it winding it, you can fish it pumping it, you can drop it, and you can fish from 6 inches of water to 50 feet or 100 feet.
So what does it do special on the fall? I want you to tell us, in your opinion, why it's special.
Well, if you can see this bait, if you'll notice this, and this has got a lot of technology that we have in our dredgers. We get our vibration off the way water flows over it, not off the lip or the nose like most people. So what happens when it falls, you want it to do this. You want it to flutter, and you just want it to dart. And you want it to fall fast. That's why our 3/4 is actually probably weighs a little more than 3/4.
Okay.
But if you'll look at it, I mean, and most people don't know this. It's real thin here. It's real wide down here, just like our dredgers.
Yeah.
And when water flows over it, it makes it do certain things. It's not like most of the lipless baits get it right here off the nose. Ours is totally different. But you want the swing action. You want it to be darting like a dying, fluttering shad. And that's what a fish bite it.
I am amazed at your brain. And I'm amazed that you made that out of clay.
I did. I made it with a piece of clay sitting there. I said, give me a piece of clay. And they, Keith Oyster went back there and got some kind of material and brought it out there. And I made this thing with that. And that's sort of how we have. I tell you, we've been lucky at Berkeley. A lot of things have sort of come together. I mean, I've never realized how important the water flow over a bait is, and that's what I think the greatest thing that we've ever discovered. Along with making a bait act like wood. Fish just like wood, but much more consistent. And it's the same thing. We're innovating stuff. We're not trying to copy somebody. Everybody's trying to copy us, but we're trying to innovate stuff that's better, makes things work better, cast better, do all the right things, and catch a lot of fish. So
catch more fish.
Yep, that's right. That's the best logo I've ever heard.
Hey, what do you think? What do you think Aunt Becky would think of your bait designs?
Who's that?
Your Aunt Becky.
Dang, you must have read my book or something.
I mean, there's not many guys, not many pluggers out there that can say, and no disrespect to the ladies out there, that a lady got him into fishing, and I think that's very special. Mike Iaconelli's another one. His mom and of course his Uncle Don and stuff would take Mike fishing, but I think it's very important. My mom had a hand in dropping me off at places, and happy birthday today, Mom, by the way, to my mom. But your Aunt Becky, your Aunt Becky, man, that's pretty cool. What do you think she'd think of all this, Dave?
Well, she always smiled, and she was my favorite aunt because every time I go stay with her, we'd go fishing. That was one reason, one way to become my favorite aunt. But she was sort of like my mom. I mean, my mom was my biggest fan, but Becky was real close to that. But Becky didn't understand designing lures and stuff like that, but she had a smile from ear to ear, and we'd be telling her about stuff, and she wouldn't necessarily say something, but she would just have that big smile on her face.
She'd be smiling giant if she knew about that you designed the damn Fritz-side, and you had a hand in just about every plug that the Bass Galaxy is winding today. Aunt Becky would be smiling giant for that. Give it up, Bass Galaxy. That's amazing stuff for David Fritts right there. The plugger.
Yeah, when you said that the other day, I got to thinking about it, that, when you said, well, you have probably had your hands in on the most crankbaits that has ever been made. And you know what? You're probably... I mean, not all of them, but I've had my hands in a bunch of them, and a bunch of successful ones.
You sure have. And they've been, you talk about people, I hate to use the word copy, man, but like your designs have been emulated.
Oh, yeah.
Throughout.
Well, it has for years. But I guess what's kept me successful is just, always being an innovator and having good folks around me that, when I was with Rappling, I was with Pose and all them, I had no help. It's just what I made. And now I have a little bit of help and I have different perspectives on it. And it makes a big difference. I mean, and I listen. But when it really boils down to it, and we're making more baits that cost $500 to $1,000 a piece, and probably going to throw it away.
You're strapping quarters to those.
Yeah.
Hey,
I want it to be a David Fritz bait. I take pride in what I do, and it doesn't cost that much more to have something that's a lot better.
Dude,
but you got to know what better is, and that's something that I've been blessed with.
That's that damn Fritz-side. I didn't think I'm a plugger, man, and I've never been as impressed with a plug in so many years as that Fritz-side. And wow. I mean, wow. Let's give them away. Let's give away some biggins. That's 8 biggins.
I need some myself.
You do not. You got a whole damn truck full of them probably
No, I
out.
don't either.
I've
been on back order for a year. I was up at St. Clair and I said, I gotta have some number 5s. And they said, well, okay, we'll send y'all. We'll get some together. Send you all we got. And I got 2 of them.
Brad Rutherford.
Brad.
Unreal.
The problem was he had them in his tackle box. He should have took a few out when he had them.
Oh my gosh, David. I mean, that's the bait, man. Hey, you know who has them? Plenty of them is OmniaFishing.com. They have a ton of Fritz-sides. Just so you know, if you need to buy any, I can get you a discount over there. I know a couple guys.
Believe it or not, I've bought more than they give me.
I've done the same thing. I ran through Cabela's the other day to get some biffle toes, and I saw they had some of those Fritz-side 5s in the a couple of those.
They're hard to find. They sell them faster than they make them.
I'm telling you, it's nuts.
It is. It is. I had never. In all my years with all the bait companies, I have never seen anything like it.
It's nuts. If you top that one, are you gonna have a bigger 5, like a 5 Magnum?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like how you just answered that. You're a good dude.
Well, we got a couple more coming out this year, so that's just a little different. But I ain't gonna tell you about it. But anyway.
Hey, Dave, can you and I go wind a plug together someday, you think? Can we go winding?
Yeah, we probably can next week.
All right, well, let's do that. I'll see you out there. And
got to call Bass and get it okayed with them.
I'll get it all okay. We'll work that stuff out.
The thing is, they just want you to ride and not fish.
Yeah. That's for sure. At least I can watch you wind. Hey, let's give away 8 Fritz-side 5 biggins, courtesy of Berkeley Fishing and B-Rad Rutherford, right now. So do we, Brad? Or do you have the info, David, from everybody?
It's on his phone.
Oh, it's on your phone. They texted you the winner.
They did?
Yeah, they must be on your phone somewhere.
So how am I going to open it up without losing you?
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
good.
Andy, you're the producer. You handle this.
I can just give it away.
Are you so? Whisper the winner to Dave.
Okay,
so
nobody listen.
Yeah, so nobody listen, and he's gonna tell you the winner, Dave. Go ahead. What's the winner, Andy?
Daryl Wilson.
Dale Wilson.
Daryl.
Huh?
It's Dave.
Daryl Wilson.
Daryl Wilson.
Daryl Wilson. You just won a bait of a lifetime.
Daryl Wilson. Magic happens on Straight Cast, the glorified version of a bass fishing talk show with Dave Fritz, building all the hits right there. 8 Fritz-side 5 biggins, courtesy of Berkeley, and just direct message the Straight Cast Bookface page. Attention, Jake. And what's the guy's name again? I forgot already.
Daryl Wilson.
Daryl Wilson. Daryl Wilson.
Okay.
Wilson. Remember that movie, Dave? Hey, man, I'm telling you, dude, thank you so much. What do you got? What are you doing now? I see you're up to something.
The boy that won it.
What
The
happened?
boy that won it.
Darryl Wilson.
Yeah.
Hot damn.
What happened?
He's
Oh.
already put a message on there.
Yeah, he's already messaged. Hot damn.
Nice. Oh, Daryl's a lucky guy. What do you got there, David? I see you're playing with something.
Oh, I found one in the store and I bought it, a red Fritz-side 5, because you can't get them. So
Yeah.
I found one in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and I bought it. Like I say, I bought a lot more than I have.
They got two orange ones. Or two red ones. They got a red one that's like got a little orange on the bottom, and then there's a candy apple red kind of one.
Yeah.
I like.
Yeah, we're working on another new red that's gonna, and that's something else that we have. We have all our colors are innovative.
Amazing.
I mean, we have a few colors. The honey shad.
Honey shad's awesome. Cream pie,
Oh
killer.
yeah. And the
Tan
honey shad,
Mom.
Mike Russell and myself worked on for almost 2 days. But let me tell you what, that is a 1975 Bagley eggshell.
Yep,
They had it for 1 year and they lost it.
I remember.
Bagley couldn't even make them.
It used to be on the
they
CW,
lost.
on that CW crawfish on white. Yep,
Yep.
I remember. Yeah.
So anyway, that's we take a lot of pride in how our baits look, and like I say, it's sometimes there's always one color that catches them better.
It sure is. Like,
You just got to figure out what it is.
here's a sleeper. Do you know about the tan mom, Dave? You know about
No,
tan?
what?
Spray tan? It's really called tan mom. They mislabeled it.
About that spray tan.
I know that spray tan. That's a little. You know what I mean?
It ain't far off of it. If this one was shiny, it would be a spray tan. This one's got some little black bars, but that would be a spray tan.
Yeah, man. And then,
You didn't notice that, did you?
no, I
It's
did.
all worn out, but anyway, I think the red bottom on this helped it more than anything.
You
You know, sometimes fish want orange, but a lot of times they want red.
know, red bottom, man.
Yep.
Dave, I can't thank you enough for sharing all this knowledge with us, the Bass Galaxy tonight. You let it rip tonight. You know, so unfortunately, there's a bunch of Elite Series anglers that watch this show, and they might use some of this against you. I can't promise you.
Well, I'm not going to tell a lie, and I'm not going to tell something I don't believe. So, you know, that's what you always get with me, is you're going to get a truthful what I believe.
Oh my goodness, and I am thankful that the good Lord has given you, David Fritts, good health and another year to compete in the Bassmaster Elite Series. I'm so stoked for that, man. Amazing stuff, David. And thanks again for the support that you've shown this show throughout the years. We appreciate it, sir.
Oh, anytime, buddy.
Yeah, man. And I'll see you in Pickwick, bud.
All right.
All
Sounds
right.
good.
Safe travels. Rest up. Thanks for giving
I'm
away
not-
those plugs. It's David Fritts. Yes. Yes, sir. How you like them yapkas right there? Old Dave Fritts. Giving up the knowledge. The Fritz-side Magnum. I can't wait for that one. Big plug-in. That's how you use them right there. So we got one more giveaway tonight. Now, we gave away 8 Berkeley Fritz-sides already. So now what we are going to do is give you a $50 redemption code. And I know that the tag, the link has been on the screen all night, and on the whatchamajig, what do you call that thing, Andy? Chat board, on the Chatterama, on the old Chattero. But now, are we bringing Jake Haas on? Oh my goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a $50 Omnia Fishing redemption code gift card. You could buy 5 more Fritz-sides with those. Or you can get a bunch of Generals max scent and put nails in them. Or you could go on eBay, take that gift card, add $75,000 of your own, and purchase that David Fritz 300 pose with the special shell that him and Ed Chambers made together. That's an option. So keep that in mind. Right? Ladies and gentlemen, it's Jake Haas. Look at Jake. Jake, do tricks. Do tricks, Jake. Do tricks. Andy, do tricks too. Everyone do tricks. I'll do tricks too. Let's do tricks. Hey, watch this. Watch this. Hey, Jake, what's going on, man? You want to give stuff away? You're smiling. I like that you're smiling, Jake. I like that you're smiling.
I'm ready. I'm ready to make someone's day.
Are you? Because we're giving away $50. OmniaFishing.com. You know what's cool about Omnia? And I know you and Andy did this, but sometimes I don't like typing things. But you guys went on OmniaFishing.com and you are ambassadors. So, in other words, you guys can what's the deal with that, Andy? It's like shop by lake. Yeah. So, in other words, if Andy's out at Lake George over in Hobart, Indiana, and he's jacking them on the tickle sprinkler, then he's going to put in there tickle my sprinkle on the OmniaFishing.com. Now Jake's over in Jersey, and he's chopping them up on the old jackhammer in the what's the Jason Christie color called?
Firecrow?
No, that's Jay Lee's color, fire crotch. I'm talking about Christie's color, the shad, the pumpkin shad. So Jake's catching them on pumpkin shad, and you put that in the ambassador report because Lake X, which is behind Mike Iaconelli's house, they're hitting the pumpkin shad. So you put that on there, and then everybody goes and buys stuff at OmniaFishing.com, and then we give away $50 worth of gift certificates to OmniaFishing.com. What do you think of that? Boy, you guys are making me say, you two are so, I wish Popcorn was here because you guys are just boring the shit out of me right now. Somebody talk to me. Gosh damn it, talk to me. Who wins? Who wins, Jake? Who wins? Oh my God. Who wins? Make sounds.
The winner is John Henning.
John Henning! Are you kidding me? John did?
John Henning.
John won? John Henning? Are you serious? Andy.
John won.
John Henning won. Andy,
You remember him?
why are you rolling your eyes and making faces? Right? No, you were giving me why are you say John Henning again? That's what you did. Jake, he's making fun of me. Why do you think John Henning? Unreal. John Henning. You guys know John Henning?
Nope.
His name is your name, too. John Henning Jingleheimer Schmidt. He has to direct message the Stray Cast Facebook. Attention Jay Kaz, right? Is John Henning present right now?
Correct.
Do you know? Because I think he has to be present to win.
He was there.
Is he there?
He is. He said awesome.
Okay,
with
good, 'cause I was gonna
16,000
take it-
exclamation points.
I was going to take his prize away, for real, just because Andy was making sounds, grunting noises. I want to go home noises. That's what those are. So he still wins?
Yeah, he's there.
Doug Henning. He's a magician, actually. Did you know that? All right. So Andy wants to go home. Jake, you got to work early in the morning. And I'm just
Yes.
going to keep doing bass fishing shit because that's what I do until I fall asleep. All I do is live and breathe bass fishing. That's it. Bass fishing, babes, music, running, proper bassing. And I like junk food. I need to start eating healthier. I do. I need to start
There's a lot
eating
of candy
healthier.
down
Andy, all I need is about 2 more hours to talk to the people, Andy. You got time?
Sure.
Jake, you got time?
Yeah.
So, Jake, if you could recommend a healthy diet to me, what would it be?
Hot Pockets and Mountain Dew.
Hot Pockets and Mountain Dew. I see. Have you ever sailed in a sea of Mountain Dew? I said to Jake as I looked at Andy. I haven't, but next week I shall. Because, believe it or not, Mountain Dew is a new sponsor of Stray Cats. Yes, you believe it? Mountain Dew.
Said it enough.
Now, next week, Mountain Dew coming aboard. Pretty excited about that. You know who else is coming aboard next week? Gussie, Bassmaster Elite Series champion, along with the Sleepjackers and the newest Sleepjacker, Matthew. He'll be here too with them. That's going to be exciting. Thank you so much, Berkeley Fishing, for giving away the 8 biggins tonight, big and Fritz-side 5s. Thank you, OmniaFishing.com. The $50 gift card. If you are not signed up at Omnia Fishing on their ambassador deal, it's a chance to get a discount on products. And Omnia Fishing is always stocked. Check them out. Crestliner keeps us afloat. Power Pole, total boat control. Abu Garcia. Sims, man, I love how warms and toasty the Sims keeps me. KVD line and lure about astern. War Eagle Outcast tackle. Slicks rod covers and assorted fighter flip jigs. Tin Cup Mountain Whiskey. Word of the week. What was that word again?
Crank something.
Swamp dog.
Swamp monkey.
If we said swamp monkey, you had to drink tonight, Luke Foley. Bravarney Baits. Dan Bravarney, thank you for being with this show since day one. Dan Bravarney, he's our longest running business partner, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think since show one. TH Marine, thank you so much, Luke Duncan, Shayna, for all your support there. And again, year 2. We've been with TH a while. And of course, the National Professional Fishing League's very own Jake Boomer, competitor, pro angler Jake Boomer, owner of Alpha Angler. He's going to go fishing derbs for the NPFL next week on Eufaula, I believe. Yes. I want Fat Cat to come in like Beyonce on a string, like a questionably low-test string to make things dangerous. So if there's a snap, it keeps things interesting. You know what I mean? With something else. Hey, but we'll be back next week, and then we're off for 2 weeks. I'm going to Pickwick, and then we're going to film the Proper Bassin' Man show coming July 4th to a theater near you. I'm Pat Renwick. I love you, Bass Galaxy. I love bass fishing. This is what I do. This is what I breathe. This is what I live. I bid you peace. I'll see you next week. Safe travels. Stay proper, my friend.